And we are live, round two. Fight.
Round two. Let's do this. As we stated, we will be allowing the chat to come on up and join in on the conversation. You guys can come up and ask your questions, ask live questions to BGS regarding anything that we've discussed or something that we didn't get a chance to talk about. So feel free to hit the link and come on up and join us. Just remember that you do have to be respectful. If there is any disrespect, you will be removed from the panel and you won't be allowed to rejoin. So, yeah. We'll see what they have for you because I saw lots of questions throughout the chat that
Mm-hmm.
weren't actual super chats, so they didn't get highlighted. But we'll see if they will come on up and ask their questions.
Okay. Everyday motivation. You can come on whenever you want to, honey. The
Don't be
invitation is
scared.
always
Right.
open.
Don't be scared.
She's one of my faves in the space,
Mm.
too. So, oh, and we're going to do a little giveaway today. I had forgot
Oh
all
yes.
about that.
Yes. We will be doing some giveaways, some really nice giveaways. So we're going to do that likely towards the latter part of the stream, but we do have some cash giveaways. So yeah, definitely stay tuned and continue to dialogue in the chat and or come on up on the panel and engage with us.
So
Yeah.
BGS, let me just go ahead and pop it off,
Mm-hmm.
because I've had some people come to me and it was like, BGS has said this, that, and the third. You can't trust these old ninjas, yada
Mm-hmm.
yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that you said that I think that has kind of taken people by surprise,
Uh-huh.
somebody was talking about your daughter one day, right?
Okay.
And you told the guy you would you
Yeah. Yeah. I would. I would. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah.
and
Yep.
so many people have kind of taken that and have ran with it.
Okay.
What do you think
That's
about
that's
that?
fair. If I said it, that's fair. It's
Oh,
fair. Take it any
nah,
way you want it.
nah,
Yeah. If you don't like me, don't listen.
that's right. Nah.
That's what I told him. I told him then. I said, you're welcome to unsubscribe anytime. Don't listen
Okay.
to me.
Okay.
Don't
Why
sit
did
over
you
there and
like
complain
you attack
Ooh.
your
and
personal
stay.
family and you ain't gonna respond in kind?
Yeah.
Like you gonna get this work. You come for mine.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk about my daughter. My female folk. Uh, I take objection to people actually coming after them. They're not part of the discussion. I don't talk about your mother or your kids or anything like that. I don't do that. So I expect the same. It's called common courtesy. And he
That's
did. He actually came back and apologized a week later. So I don't know what people are upset about. But if they want to keep bringing it up, if I said it, it came out of my mouth. If you don't like me because I said it, I say there's a door. Bounce. Don't come back. Don't like. I don't care. I don't care whether you like me or not. I'm a Gemini. Geminis don't care whether you like them or not. They don't.
How do you feel like the esoteric stuff plays out in your content? Because I'll say that's probably one of the things that kind of drew me to you,
Mm-hmm.
was the esoteric side. I think I was just kind of getting off into it a little bit,
Uh-huh. I
but
try. I try to weave it in to where people
Mhm.
can actually understand it. Like it's in all the work. It's just hidden. Um, and when I read charts or I do read any kind of chart, any kind of study on any kind of topic, it's in there. It's just hidden. Can I bring it out where you can actually see it? I can, but the thing is, most of the time it's hidden. It's in there. Actually, it's actually the basis of my work. But the thing is, I don't actually bring it out front because most people don't understand it in the first place. When I actually do esoteric something, it's actually normally like a morning thought or something like that. It's in there. It's just not obvious.
Mhm. I have a question for you, BGS.
Hmm.
What is it? What do you think it is, or about Kevin Samuels that allowed him to be highlighted in such a sense that he went, mainstream? Because he had been in the space for some time. I
Okay.
know he had his initial focus was on, male development and
Hmm.
men, kind of self improvement. So,
Okay.
what was it like? Was it just the timing? What was
It,
it?
it was it was timing, but thing is, one, he works extremely hard. Okay. Kevin works 18 hours a day, so he works extremely hard.
Wow.
He's good at selling and presenting, right? Women like
Mm,
presentation more than anything else, right? So he sets the mood, he sets the presentation, he studies his market. Okay, so he studied the
mm,
market about women well before he actually started doing content. And then it's just luck and opportunity. Okay, he had no idea COVID was going to happen. Okay, um, he had previously had the work. Hold on a second. I'll be right back.
sure.
Okay.
Sure thing. Go ahead, Danny.
Well, what's up, JoJo and Black Wizard? How you guys doing?
Now, all those comments in the chat, now that you guys
Yo,
have
what
an
up?
opportunity, y'all aren't clicking the link. This is your opportunity to come up so you can ask the questions that you were chiming in the chat and that you're currently typing in the chat that you want answers to.
Some people just like to talk it, but they don't walk that walk.
Yeah, yeah.
So, when you get somebody in there to where they can actually have the conversation with them, it's so much easier to talk shit in the chat. So, yeah,
He
shout out
trying
to
to
you guys.
Facts.
he trying to say they ain't about that life.
At
Huh?
all. And
Yeah,
ain't.
I'm back.
Okay. Well, Jojo, what are your questions or thoughts for BGS?
Um, this is a couple of things I've been thinking
Hey
about.
Jojo, what's
Cause
up, man?
what's going on with you, Mr. BGS? But I've been wanting this for a while because I salute every black man and woman who kind of want to keep fighting for the family unit and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
my question is this: uh, cause I'm of the idea, you know what I mean? I'm with my girl and stuff like that. We've been together for a while, but I'm of the idea that it's honestly beyond repair. But my question is, when will brothers accept the fact that, because like I said, it ain't all the girls, and stuff like that. But when will brothers accept the fact that it will never be, I guess, this utopia thing that they looking for?
Mm, I don't think black people actually looking for utopia. I think they're looking just for a regular life, which they haven't had in 200 years. I think that's what black people are actually looking for. They just want to be normal, which is almost impossible to do in this country. That's what I think they're looking for.
And
I never heard a black woman or man say they actually wanted the perfect life. Okay, they just wanted a normal
mm,
life, just like everybody else.
and
That's why I hear.
I got one more too.
Go ahead.
Even as far as the relationship dynamics, like
Hmm.
you got to where a lot of dudes saying, because my thing is this. I look at it old school how the Bible did it, where the dude should, take care of the bills and the woman should take care of every single thing in the house.
Hmm. Uh-huh.
But my question is, why do people have such a hard time accepting that? I don't think it's nothing wrong with what I mean, with a dude saying, I'm finna pay the bill, the girl, you take care of that. Cause my girl do that. You know what I mean? I don't wash now dish, I don't cook now meal, and I don't wash my own drawers. She do
Hmm.
all that. But my
Hmm.
question is, why do people have such a problem with that type of
Because
dynamic?
husband and wife and Danny can tell you that those are roles. Okay, those are roles.
Mm-hmm.
Those are roles that you agree to play. Okay, agree to actually adhere to. You have to adhere to the role. Okay, if you become a wife, that's a role that you have to play in a family dynamic, right? Same thing with a husband. Okay, and you have to be trained to be in that role. And most men and women, men included, are not trained to be in that role. They're trained to be partners. Okay, that's like you hear women,
Mm,
white women, black women talk about when you get married. I want a partner. A partner is not a role. A wife is a role. Okay. Taking care of the kids, taking care of the house, cooking, cleaning, all that is a wife's role. Paying all the bills, going out working one, two jobs if necessary. There's a husband's role. Protector, provider, that's a husband's role. Okay, when you bring them together, they each play their role and the thing works. Okay, But nowadays, with feminism, the way they train you in the school, the social environment, the laws that they pass, it's built for partners, and they actually trained a lot of women to be in the provider role. Now, if they don't make it, okay, they find a partner that plays the other half of that role, other half of that equation. They come together and kind of balance it out. But the thing is, you're not men are not trained for the husband role anymore, for the most part, and women are not trained for the wife role. That's how come wives are so rare. If that makes sense to you.
Mm.
Oh, yes, sir. Mhm.
So so. In other words, you're pushing people into roles they haven't been prepared for, and that's difficult.
Don't you think you're doing the same
See,
thing though?
and
No.
Okay, so how does your channel help men to actually move into the actual role of being a provider without women who has actually been prepared for the same role? How does your channel help with that?
How does my channel help with that? My
Yes, sir.
channel is not necessarily to help men be provided. My channel is there to help men understand themselves. Okay, that's what my channel is there for. Okay. Okay.
So
Now hold on a second. Are you gonna let me
okay,
answer? Are you gonna
yeah, yeah.
unless you want? If you want to talk, man, I'll be quiet. You can talk. This is
Okay,
their
all right,
channel.
okay. So I'll talk. So how long you been in Manosphere?
Since 2013, so that's 8 years.
Okay, so don't you think if you have some successful men that you have prepared for the same women that you claim that these men should be taking on? Do you have a social class of men that has been prepared for that?
There's quite a few men that have prepared for it and actually gone on to do that, but that's up to them. Okay,
Mhm.
I don't delve into their personal lives, but there's quite a few guys that have gotten married and got kids. And in fact, I know like 4 or 5. One that actually emails me all the time, which is Trigger and Ash. You guys know Trigger Ash from the women's channel, right? They got married. They got a little cute little baby girl. Basically, what's her name? Nicole Ali. Came out of my
Mhm.
camp. She got
Mhm.
married. She just had a baby.
I know,
She's a
educated Keisha.
biochemist.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Well,
what you're calling her.
educated Keisha. She's married
Yeah.
to a
Okay.
happily married. She cooks. She cleans for her man. She plays the
Okay.
wife role for her man, even though she's educated and has a PhD. Just like her husband has a PhD in engineering. Okay, but they come together. They're old fashioned and they do the damn thing. Okay, those are two. There's a couple. There's a couple more.
Two out of everybody else's expectations
It,
within Black America
I don't.
to
I'm
deal
not
with the
trying.
same people.
I'm not trying to save Black America. That's not my channel.
Okay, so you don't care about Black America at all.
No,
So
it's not
what?
my channel. That's not my channel.
Okay,
Okay.
so what part of Black America are you trying to save with your channel?
What part of Black America can I'm
I know
trying
you
to?
just said that you're not
All right.
you
Okay,
don't care
okay,
about
okay,
saying.
okay,
MOT,
man.
he said he's not trying to save Black America. He said he's not trying to save
I'm
Black
trying to
America.
inform people. I'm
Okay,
not
so
trying
you're a
to save
master
anybody.
teacher who don't care about
I'm trying.
saving Black
Well, he
America.
said he's trying to enlighten men regarding, who they are, not necessarily, But and I think that in and
Okay.
of itself would aid Black America if Black men understand who they truly are and understand manhood, and there are lessons that they pick up from, watching his channel that would in turn help them be better mates, which could help
Yeah,
Black America.
I got quite a few people that have actually done it. The whole Octane series is about picking the
Helping
right.
women get the
Oh,
most out of men.
okay, man. All right, you all right, man. Okay,
It
go ahead
it,
and
it,
talk.
it,
I'll
it,
listen to
it, it
you.
doesn't. It doesn't. Hey.
Okay, I'll
Hold
listen
on,
to
hold
you.
on, hold on.
I'll
Okay.
listen to you.
MOT, what's your actual question? Let's
My
start there.
actual question is following up on everything that was said before. What I'm actually trying to get at here is this guy just said, as a master teacher, that he's not trying to save Black America. Period. So, what part of Black America that are you trying to save? Are you trying to help the women, or are you trying to help the men? Because you just said some far beyond SYSBM stuff. So if you're not trying to save Black America, what part of what you're trying to actually save here? Because I want to make sure that this is on tape about what you're trying to say. So when we hear you going forward, your actual talking points and the things that you've talked about here can actually reflect the things that you actually talk about going forward. So if you're not trying to save Black America, your words, not mine, who are you trying to save?
I think he enlightening the young dudes.
Okay,
A lot of the videos talk.
I'm trying to enlighten and teach the best men that I can with what I know. That's it. That's all a teacher does. A teacher's not trying to save anybody. A teacher is there to do what? Teach and inform. That's it. Saving
Yeah,
is not that saving is not has nothing to do with teaching.
he's just an information broker. He doesn't. It's not. It's not a matter of what agenda does he have. He's just trying to give you information, and then you make your own
My
decision.
agenda is very clear and very
That's
simple.
your
But if his
agenda.
agenda is that he don't want to help Black America at all, we have to kind of nail down who is he trying to help. He's skirted past the question.
No, I haven't. No, I
He's trying
haven't.
to help you. That. I mean,
The
and
best black
whoever
man,
you.
the best black men don't team up with black men
Oh,
like
okay,
that.
okay, all
The
right,
best
man.
black men
All
don't team
right.
up with hood scholars. The best black men don't team up with people who claim that they're hood dudes. The best black men don't team up with African studies PhDs. The best black men don't do that. The best black men go out there and get stuff done. The best black men don't care about the lesser men who are not even productive. So if a
Why
guy who's
wouldn't they?
been here for
I don't
this
know,
type of
MOT. I think that's your
a period of
perspective.
time,
MOT,
okay,
I think
okay,
that's your
okay, okay,
perspective. That's your
okay,
opinion
okay,
on what the best black men
okay,
do.
all right,
But
okay, all
as
right,
it
okay,
relates to
all right.
BGS, we don't know what he's doing outside in his personal life. We're only solely talking about what he does in this space. And to be completely honest, it's very possible for someone to do both, to influence online by
I don't think
teaching
so.
and also
I don't think so.
impact others outside. He's not spending 24 hours a day, 7 days a week online.
Yeah, but he's not teaming up with actual productive black men who actually got their stuff together. He's actually trolling
How
for
you know
broken
that?
children who's actually trying to actually do this other stuff.
You don't
Okay,
know.
He know what
You
his
don't know
MOT.
track
what I
record
So
is.
do.
He got
You
seven
don't know
years
what
of
I
it.
do. No, you don't know what I do.
we're
Oh,
gonna move
Hold
the
on, hold
oh,
on.
conversation
okay, so
forward
it's
because
secret.
no, 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 no.
Hold on.
This is not
Okay,
what
so
we
it's
Don't
wanted.
secret.
Hold on,
everybody.
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold
Okay,
on,
well,
hold
all
on.
right, all right.
This
All right, well,
isn't
y'all
what we
have a
wanted.
really nice day.
Okay,
Thanks so
thank you,
much for
MOT.
answering my
We didn't
question,
want to
BGS Ibmore.
derail the conversation.
I
That's
did answer
not
your
what
question.
we
I
want to
answered your
be able
question.
to have a productive
Something is wrong
conversation.
with that
So
dude.
hold on. So it
Jojo, you
seems
can't do that. Stop
hold
doing
on,
that.
JoJo. Yeah, it
Let
seems as
them
though
handle
there's
it. Let them handle
something
it.
My bad.
underlying. So we are going to continue the conversation. We want it to be productive, though. It's okay to ask a question, but you don't want to badger the man, and you have to also permit him an opportunity to respond uninterrupted. Like that's just in all fairness. If you are asking a question, he is our guest. Allow him the opportunity to respond. You don't have to like his response. You really and truly don't even have to accept it, but his response is what it is.
Yeah.
So let's move forward. And the next
They,
person, go ahead.
people want to make me things that I'm not. But thing is, okay, I'll tell you this, and this is something I did offline. I actually talked about this last night on, I think it was the Dr. Green Gorilla show, right? Our group back in 2008 found an article in the New African about the CFA franc, right? It actually strips like billions of dollars from 14 African countries. We actually brought that out. It actually started a movement. It actually take that away. So we actually help Black America and Black people all over the world. Been doing that for 20 years. It hasn't stopped. Okay. A lot of things that goes on the continent as far as them actually bringing in and allowing Black people to actually immigrate from the diaspora. Okay, we actually encouraged that maybe like 15 years ago. Okay, a lot of stuff we do doesn't get recorded here. That's my personal life. So productive. How do you mean productive? Most Africans know who I am, right? Because I've worked with them for 15 years. So they would say I'm very productive. In fact, I'm welcome there. They've been trying to get me there for the last 10 years. So I work with people all the time. I know what you're talking about. I just don't announce it and blow my horn here on YouTube.
Thank you, BGS. MOC dropped down by himself. So
Okay.
I was going to give him the opportunity. I know people in the chat are saying he got kicked off. He did not. He chose to leave. But I just want the conversation to be productive. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
why we didn't allow guests on during the interview because this often happens. Now I am not. I know y'all calling me a captain and this, that, and the other. I'm showing him the same grace and respect that I would show to any of our guests. Y'all saying that I didn't do the same for a white man. I'm not apologetic about that. So what? Black Wizard, I'm gonna have you jump in next, but I first want to acknowledge Jessica X. Thank you for your super
Hey,
sticker. I
Jess.
appreciate you, Jess. Black Wizard, what you got?
Oh, wait, one more thing. Don't time people out erroneously. Just chill. Let people rock. So, yeah. Thanks. And hit the like button. Black Wizard, what are your thoughts?
Hi, thank you. Yeah. If my baby starts screaming, my bad. But yeah, I
No,
had a
no.
question for BGS real quick.
Mm-hmm.
In regards to something that you said a couple years ago.
Okay.
You said something around the lines of, and I'm not sure the exact thing, but I think you'll get what I mean. It's like
Mm-hmm.
if Black people thought the first Jim Crow was bad, then just wait till Jim Crow 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wanted you to kind of elaborate what you meant by that, if you can remember.
If Black people don't protect what they've gained, by getting rid of Jim Crow 2.0 will be a whole lot worse, because if they have to come back and revisit this, then they're going to start taking heads. They won't just put you in chains. They'll take heads.
Yeah,
And
I
so
was curious because it implies, I guess to me, that implies that there will be a Jim Crow 2.0. You see what I'm saying? Like, I guess
if
yeah, go
oh,
ahead.
really, if they weren't trying to absorb you, then you would get a Jim Crow 2.0. But the thing is, you probably won't, because I say in 40 years there probably won't be a Black community. We call people of color, which is what they're trying to make you become anyway. So they're trying to blend you in, and with the Z's and the A's, it looks like that's going to happen, because the millennials already date out at a rate of 15% already. I think it's 20%. Um, and the Z's and A's are probably a little further along than that. So there probably won't be much of a Black community in 40 years anyway. So they're gonna blend you out. Well, white people are gonna be blended out too. So that's gonna be one big gray mass of people of color probably in 40 years.
What do
If
you
that
think
makes sense.
would cause a Jim Crow 2.0?
Okay, same thing that happened with in Germany. Okay, they made a decision rather than to get rid of you, for lack of a better term, rather it'd be better to integrate you. And I think Eisenhower actually started that move. But if that doesn't work out, what are they left with? So that would be Jim Crow 2.0. But the thing is, Jim Crow 2.0, especially in a okay, if it's coming up, basically, and you're in a technocratic society where you have to be able to learn and be able to adapt, and connections make a difference, you're going to get locked out of this economy really quickly. It's probably already happening, and that will be Jim Crow 2.0. That's going to be very nasty. So you're going to be locked out. You'll be at the bottom of a lower class people if you're not careful.
And do you see that as a likely possibility?
I actually told this story. Okay, I walked. This 2 years ago. I walked into my grandson's, I think, third grade class, and you could see the kids that weren't going to make it just by looking at them. Okay, this one's not going to make it. As far as if this society turns technocratic, they're not going to make it. In fact, if you look at, let me ask you this question, Black Wizard. On as far as reading level is concerned, how many Black boys actually can read at grade level?
You want a percentage, or you just want me to give
Yeah,
you a rough?
yeah, whatever rough percentage. What do you think?
At grade level,
Yeah,
maybe 20.
10.
Oh wow.
What do you think is going to happen in a technocratic society with Black boys, especially in eighth grade, can only read at grade level 10%? What's going to happen to them?
Yeah, it's true.
Especially
They
when they
won't
get
be
rid
able
of
to keep up,
especially get rid of manual jobs, right? What's going to happen to them?
especially when things move into programming and stuff
Yeah,
like that to keep a
you got to
job.
be able to read, and you got to read
Hmm.
and problem solve. What's going to happen to these kids,
We're headed
boys and
towards
girls?
more automated systems doing, the labor that Black men would typically be hired for.
Hmm. So what's
Mm.
going to happen to them, Black Wizard? What do you think?
Yeah, that's an auto lockout.
That's what I'm saying. That will be effectively Jim Crow 2.0.
Mm.
And with that, well, okay, so we know like the banks and the government is kind of like giving loans to, I guess, Black women to move into, and even Google are giving loans to Black women to move into the, I guess, technocratic society to prepare them for it. Those kind of things aren't really given to men.
There's two things. One thing, black women are a buffer class because those jobs were supposed to go to black men, but black women have become a buffer class. Two, black women got these people in office, so they're getting paid off for it. So I have no problem with them getting paid off. Black
but I guess
black women have to make a decision. What kind of black society do they want, or if one at all? And they have to make that decision. We can't make it for them because they have the ball. We can't take the ball from them. What are they going to do with the ball when it's in their hands?
And that's what I was kind of leading to is, so I guess you would see assimilation by the greater society showing up in the terms of like, so you got black women with like degrees and are obviously more literate generally than black men moving into the upper echelons of society while black men are locked out.
Okay.
So
they're going to have two choices: either accept the men at the lower rungs of economic society, or be by themselves. That's what Kevin is saying. You know, don't want to accept them. Buy a dog, die alone.
So
what kind of society do you want? No, go ahead. You're Borging bad.
Yeah, you're Borging, Black Wizard.
Oh, sorry about that. Am I better?
There you go.
Yeah.
I guess then I'm asking, my last question would be, are you saying it is more in the women's, I guess, hands to preserve black society than it is in the men?
Yes, they have to do better. I mean, if you're not going to do anything for the men, you got to do something for your children because they're in your hands. Okay, if you're not willing to fight for your black boys to get an education, what are you going to actually turn out 15, 20 years later? That's your society. What are you going to do? Are you going to let it fall, or are you going to do something? Black women have to do something. They just can't stand on the sidelines and complain. They have to do something. If they don't, you're not going to get any men on the other side. Stop complaining. Accept where you are. Stop complaining. Stop saying you want a black society and not going to do anything for it. At this point, I've been in this game too long, man. At this point, if you don't want it to happen, don't let it happen. Guys that want to happen, they'll find places elsewhere to go.
Thank you, Black Wizard.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to give Kurt Connors a chance to join the conversation. Kurt, I don't think you've ever been on the panel, so welcome. What question or comment do you have for BGS?
Hey, BGS, how's it going?
Pretty good.
I know you're saying you're a part of the MGTOW community beforehand, and I followed your Black Gnostic.
I still am.
And I followed your Black Gnostic Speaks channel. It was pretty big among white MGTOW.
Okay.
And I just had to ask because I know you said earlier, you were talking about there's clips of you and there's stuff you said, and if you said it, you said it. So I'm just curious because there's some rumblings along the white manosphere about one clip in particular where you were talking to a young dude. He was seemed like he was a little rowdy. Mm-hmm. And one of your responses was basically, you're gonna fuck him in the ass.
Yeah. Okay. So what? Okay.
And I guess we kind of had an issue with that because it's kind of like, why is your response to that sodomy? Like why not just try and teach the young man?
Yeah, it's called emotions, sir. You
Mm-hmm.
have them.
I agree.
And you say shit when you're mad. Mm-hmm. Okay. That was like 30 seconds, right? And guess what the dude did the next week?
Mm-hmm.
He apologized.
Absolutely.
Okay. What do you want? 30 seconds. What do you want?
Well, it was more than 30 seconds because...
No, it wasn't. It was 30 seconds. I know. It's still up. That's why it's still up there.
Well, there's more in it where you talk about fucking his mother and fucking him again and choking him and him calling him dad.
I didn't say all that. That's
you
not
didn't?
what I said. Nope.
Go.
No, you can't play it.
Is it possible for me to play it? I can play it for you.
No.
Kurt. So what's your question pertaining to it? Because he said he said it. He stood
Well,
on
yeah,
what he said in the first.
If
so
you
the
don't,
issue, the issue here,
if you don't like it, if you don't like what I said,
the issue is the fact is that you're denying that there was
I
more
didn't
to it. That you said there's only
go.
30 seconds, but it's actually 5
Well,
minutes
that's
of you
fine.
talking about sodomizing
If
a
that's
black young male that you're
no,
talking about
if that's
saving.
fine. If you don't like what I said, what did I say is in response to that? What did I
Well,
say?
no, it has
No,
nothing to
no,
do
no,
with the
no, no, no,
response
no, 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 no.
because you sat here and you
I
talked about saving young
I
black
didn't.
males, yet there was a young black male, and what did you do? You talked about fucking him in the ass,
Okay,
Okay.
Kurt, we
choking
don't want
him.
our stream flag, so we got to be careful with the language.
Okay,
But
I'm
I
sorry.
think,
I'm
yeah,
sodomizing the man
Now,
and then telling him to call you dad,
I didn't tell him to
right?
call me. I didn't say that.
Kurt.
I
So
have the
No,
clip if we
no,
can play
hold
it,
on,
please.
Kurt. So what's
Kurt.
your question regarding it? Because he said, basically he admitted, he said it's still up. He hasn't even taken the stream down. So he's acknowledging that he did say that.
Absolutely, he's
So what?
acknowledging. Well, he's
So what?
acknowledging.
Get to your point.
My point is, how are you talking about saving young black males? However, you let emotion get to the best of you to the point of where you talk of sodomizing that same young black male you want to
Okay.
save.
You want an answer?
Yes.
Okay. It's called 8 years of work versus 30 seconds to 5 minutes of emotion. What's more important?
It was more than 30 seconds.
No.
I'm
What's more
confused here.
important? Answer my
So
question. What's
even
more
if you
important?
said it was 5 minutes, he's still saying the work
What's
that
more
he's
important?
put in versus that clip,
What's
how
more
long it
important?
was.
The 8 years would be important, right?
What's
So
more
in that,
important?
so
What's
in that,
more important?
so the 8 years are
What's
important.
more
The
important?
8 years are
What's
important.
more important?
The 8 years are important.
Well,
BGS.
thank you. That's your answer, sir.
BGS.
That's your
However,
answer.
in
That's
that
no,
instance,
That's your
are you not
answer,
going to?
sir. Nope, I'm not.
You're not
I'm
going to let me
not.
respond.
Nope.
I can't respond to that.
No, you asked a question. I answered it.
Yeah,
So
Kurt. So yeah, he asked it.
I,
He
I
answered
answered
the
your.
question.
I answered your question. I don't.
I have another question.
No. You don't. You don't. You keep repeating the same thing.
No, I have another
No,
question in
no. I
regards
don't.
to your 8 years
I
of
don't
work.
want. I don't want to hear it no more.
Why not? It's
I
not.
don't want to hear it anymore.
So Kurt,
I'm a guest.
he no longer wants to answer, Kurt. But thank you for your contribution and for asking a question. We're going to move the panel
I can
forward.
play the clip though.
No, thank you. He already acknowledged what he said, so we're going to just move forward. But thank you for joining and for asking a question. We're going to move forward. Complex, welcome to the panel. Haven't seen you in a while, bro. What's good? What is your question or comment for BGS?
Oh, you haven't seen me in a while because we've actually been busy producing things.
Oh, good.
Projects that are related to the brain trust, right? And I agree with BGS's point because I actually had him on a live stream maybe about 5 months ago. Do you remember when we talked about like the miseducation of black boys?
Right.
And we talked about how reading is fundamental and that's a core issue, right? That might have something to do with the fact that everybody has Manosphere 3.0 messed up because they can't read. So if you go to the Black Brain Trust channel, I wrote the manifesto for it. So for anyone who needs clarity on the matter, go read it. Now, my question here, because I'm going to just keep this short because I got to go get my daughter some stuff for Halloween. You said that the Black Brain Trust hasn't created anything of significance, right?
What I'm saying is,
I heard that earlier. You said we haven't created anything of significance, right? So I have a question though, because Manosphere 3.0 is reflective of the Black Brain Trust, and that's who you were referencing, and I was listening. So my question is, what do you define as anything of significance? Is it a product, a service, hardware, software, what?
Okay, which question you want me to answer? You gave me
no,
5.
I'm asking you, when you say anything of significance, is that referencing?
Okay, I said impact. Impact, yes, on a space.
Really?
Yes.
The whole reason why anybody even says 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 is because of myself and Mike V.
You said it.
The reason why anybody has concepts like this
I'm not going to argue about
what are you
this,
talking
man.
about?
I said
you don't have
impact.
to argue about it. What I'm trying to do is clarify for the matter that Manosphere 3.0 is actually a real thing created by us. I didn't say they weren't. And we have shit to show and prove for it.
I didn't say you didn't. What I'm saying,
well, no, I'm here to clarify the matter because what you didn't do was credit the correct people. Right, so I'm clarifying the matter.
Tell me when I can actually answer. Okay. Let me know.
You
Go,
said
keep
of
talking.
significance. I asked you, what does that mean?
Okay.
I said impact.
Yeah, let him respond.
They asked me a
And
question.
be more
Okay, okay,
specific.
okay,
What
okay,
way?
okay, okay, okay. Look, man, are you going to let me answer or what?
Yes.
Thank you. They asked me a question about 3.0 and 3.5. They asked me a question, okay? And I said, what do you think about them? I said, I'm waiting for them to make an impact on the space. That's what I said. An impact.
What an impact
Well,
meaning?
wait. Let him finish answering the question.
In
He
other
just asked
words,
He
you
did
and
answer,
then
and I asked him
oh,
another
oh,
question.
okay.
Meaning,
let him finish.
oh
If
my
you
god,
want to give a soliloquy, you can go ahead, man. I'll listen. Go ahead.
I
no, you
wanted to
said
know
make an
complex.
impact, and I said meaning.
And meaning something, a meme, an idea that's being replicated all over the manosphere. You have not made that impact yet. That's what I mean. That's
Because
an
you're all
impact.
caught up on talking about
Humphrey, you're
It
women.
being
doesn't
bizarre.
matter.
Calm
You
down.
haven't made an impact on the space. That's what I'm saying.
No, we
So
have. It's just for
complex,
the
do
people who are
you
serious.
can you for those, because there are people who might be in the space that don't know what the Brain Trust is and the impact. Can you go ahead and talk about the impact? Because I know you highlighted something specific, and that was the fact that you all are the ones who denoted or who categorized the different stages of the manosphere. Can you talk
That was
about
Mike
the
V.
impact
He
that?
was
Okay.
1.0 and OG. An OG, yes, an OG in the game, 1.0, right? Like one of the originators. So it's kind of like this was all crafted, a lot of it from like dudes who was here before the majority of us was here, BGS included. So that's where I'm kind of confused. I'm like, well, wait a minute. This was just an extension of what was initially established. Where am I off?
Okay. Thank you, Complex. I think
Yeah, no
BGS
problem.
answered the question.
Y'all
Thank
have
you
a
for
good one.
joining. You have a good one as well. The next person in line to
This is
speak.
gonna be a beef session, huh?
Yeah, and that's not what we want at all whatsoever. Let me see. I'm sorry, who's next?
I think Mr. KP was
Okay,
next.
yeah, I couldn't see his name. Sorry. Yeah, Mr. KP. What are your comments or your question for BGS?
How y'all ladies doing? How you doing, BGS?
Doing
Um,
great.
Pretty good.
I'm gonna make this civilized, not a debate, even though I took that in high school. So BGS, you're a gentleman in your 50s, so you lived during the time
60s, 60s,
60s, exactly.
60s.
So yeah, you're a baby boomer. So I'm 39.
Mm-hmm.
82 was my birth year.
Yeah,
So I
my
was the
son's
80s.
35. My
Yeah.
son is
So
35.
so I'm a Cosby kid, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
The time frame of which you saying you're in your 60s of how, and this is not a dig at women, but you were saying earlier, like with the Monahan, I learned about that in high school.
Mm-hmm. What's your
You
take
said
on it?
pretty much, well, my take before I get to my question is it's circumstantial, like you said about the relationship between the black male and the black woman. It's because of the circumstance of what they both were living in. So it wasn't a case of them choosing us. They just settled on the fact that for the next X amount of years until something might change.
They had no choice. Yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah.
when Roe versus Wade and all the error and everything, and they got pulled into it, they had a seat at the table. My question is, did you see yourself from say the 70s up to now, the gradual change
Yeah.
of the reduction and like you said, the grade level education of especially young boys,
Mm-hmm.
to which now you have all these social issues in the community?
Yeah, you had a like 10 years where they actually emphasized male education. That's from like 1969 to like 1977 or 78, right? And then all of a sudden they did a switch in the 1980s. They started emphasizing girls instead. They actually made a big push in the 70s to actually educate black boys and black men. In the 80s they kind of reversed all that. So yeah, it's like a 10-year period, and then it
And
started to shift to educating black women.
and was that also the same as when they started pushing more of the educational importance of education on young black males to more as far as entertainment, uh, you know,
That's always been there. That's always been there. Entertainment. That really
sports?
with sports and education came with money, and black women always steer their boys toward money. So
Mhm.
when entertainers and athletes started making money, they started pushing their boys in that direction,
Mhm. Mhm. And
looking
you
for a
spoke
lottery
earlier
ticket.
about when you just spoke earlier about the Jim Crow 2.0.
Hmm.
Do you see that as you see it where women are still, of course, no problem with them accomplishing and obtaining all the high level careers and degrees and such, to which there'll be a form of selective of I don't want to he used the word procreation. I was about to say breeding, but
Nah,
procreation of
you got to remember the women that can actually get those jobs that are coming, the technocratic jobs, are a very small percentage. And the vast majority of women's jobs will actually be eliminated. A lot of women's jobs are actually paper pushing, right?
Mhm.
Uh, Signing papers, filling out forms, basically pushing information from one end to the next, that kind of stuff, right? AIs are actually going to start taking all those jobs, right? So the
Mhm.
women will be in the same boat as the men.
Would that be a
So
recalibration of them having to return back to the home, and the male, if he's any decent skill set, being the head of his household once again?
okay, the thing is we don't know because you're hitting a extremely or what I call is the nexus. Procreation, job, skills, education, all that's going to change, man, within the next 40 years. So trying to say what's exactly going to happen is probably almost impossible. In fact, the leaders that are actually pushing this stuff don't even know what's going to happen because you have are you gonna have a woman? Are you gonna have a baby by getting a woman pregnant, or actually put the baby in a test tube and actually growing the baby? Are you gonna or do you have the skills to actually keep up with the technocratic era? Do you have knowledge to actually keep up with the jobs that are coming? Okay. If you do, how long will those jobs stay there? Okay. What kind of family formation? Say if you can't create a baby without a woman, do you become a single parent? Does the society help you do that? So a lot of questions that need to be answered. So family formation will not be the same as it was for the last 1,500 years. It's going to change.
Do you believe in the life credit system like they do in China, where they're going to have it where?
So, a very good book is called Damon by Daniel Suarez, where he actually talks about the social credit system. He does a
Yes.
very good. I think it was made. I think it was actually published in 2007. It's actually a
Mhm.
science fiction book. That's the best explanation of the social credit system that I've seen. So, if you really want to know about the social credit system, that's the book to read. But as far as social credit is just another way of getting people to do what you want instead of money, instead of labor. It's just another addition to whatever else is out there. So
Okay.
it's just
Okay.
another layer.
So
Will it come here? Uh, we don't have that kind of society, so if it comes here, it's going to be not be implemented the same way that it is in
well,
China.
is it in so many ways? Because you see that the issues they're having with their women over there, where they have to try to import women from other countries. Don't you think it's already going on currently with certain people saying that they will not deal with somebody if they're not at a certain lifestyle level, or to which can benefit them in the long haul if they're trying to build a
If
legacy or
if okay, if women are in a short supply, guess who's in charge of what they get, the price they can demand? The women.
true, true.
And that's what's happening. And a lot of women don't want to get married. They actually want to be independent because guess what? They don't need a husband. Why get a
Because
husband if you don't need one?
they want to live by the rules of being a
They
wife.
don't want.
That's why they use
They
the
don't
term
want.
partner and all that stuff.
Yeah, they've been trained to use the word partner. Okay, for
Yeah,
that very reason.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we don't know. Are women willing to get to their 60s and be by themselves without a man? We don't. We'll find out, won't we?
My last question, and I'll go on. Like we saw with stuff, using an example, I know she's a celebrity, but the situation like Serena, where a lot of
Mm-hmm.
women look at her as a role model, but
Mm-hmm.
she divested, but now she's now supposedly going to separate from her husband. Is that a case where women naturally, I mean, nurture by environment might divest, but naturally want to stay in their
Can okay, when you go with a partner, there's a mating strategy that all groups have, right? And if say if you get married to a white woman, you can't treat her like a black woman because she's not black. You have to
yes,
adjust to her mating strategy, right?
yes,
Your personality has to agree with hers. Okay, black women just can't wholesale go out and marry white men because their personalities and their mating strategy are not the same.
Yes.
In fact, black men are far more adaptable to marrying out than black women actually are.
Exactly. We don't have issues with divesting, but yeah.
Because black men are trained to serve, so
Yep.
black men are far more agreeable in any situation than black women are. Black women are actually
Right.
trained to lead. You're not going to go over to white society and lead their society. It's not going to happen.
All right. Well, thank you for answering my questions.
Hmm.
Thank you, Mr. KP. Appreciate you.
As well.
Next, we have Gaston's World. Gaston's World, welcome to the panel, bro. What is your comment or your question for BGS?
Good afternoon, Concrete, Sister George, and greetings to you, BGS. I'm really not familiar with much of your content, but you
Okay.
definitely sound like you're knowledgeable on the subject. And so I just want to pose this question to you. Why do you feel like Black women think they're the most unprotected demographic of people on the planet? And in in correlation with that question, what do you feel like we can do as a community, or if we do need to do anything as a community to make them feel otherwise?
Okay. Number one, they compare themselves to white women. That's their comparison. Okay, ship them down to Mexico to the continent, they'll change their minds immediately. Find out that they're not. This is all that they know, and they compare themselves to the most protected woman on the planet, which is the white female, white American female. That's why how come they feel that way? Because black women do not get hurt, beat, killed anymore. Uh, Actually, white men actually get killed, hurt, and beat up more than black women. Same thing with Hispanic. They're actually very well. Go down to Mexico where they're actually burying women in the desert. Okay, they have a real issue with being protected.
First world
Okay,
problem.
this is a first world problem. There's nothing you can do to make them more protected. You have Me Too. You can't approach women. Sexual assault laws. Okay, women violence against women laws. All she got to do is pick up a phone. How much more protection does she need?
Have you seen the influx of videos that are online? There was one recently, Danny. I think it was the one you sent to me where a woman was in her house and a man appeared on her porch
Hmm.
and like he was trying
Yes.
to like break into her home. Like
Hmm.
women are using those examples to say that black women aren't protected.
Hmm. But thing is, I see. Let me ask you a question. Okay, if black women were truly afraid of black men, right?
Hmm.
Okay, why do you see so many black women attack black men in public? Just beat the hell out of them. They're twice their
Hmm.
size.
Good point.
Wouldn't you say that it's the same thing on both sides? Like I think that weak people, people take advantage of weak people or people that are perceived weak, period.
Hmm.
So a woman is going to beat up on a man that she feels like she's more dominant than. And in certain instances, you have men that will beat up on women because they are the more dominant.
What I'm
I
saying
don't
is,
think it's just more dominant. Like women, I see women run up on men that are 6'4", 300 pounds, and they
yeah.
know that they'll get their
No,
head
if
knocked
you
off.
think that you have a more
because
dominant personality over a man,
Yeah.
like you can stop a man
it's
from doing
But
anything
but
to
but
you,
but
it's not
then
but
you
about
but
take
but
advantage
but,
of that.
dominance.
but I'm gonna ask you a question. If black women as a whole thought they're actually afraid of black men, would they actually stand up to them and actually fight them
Mm,
at twice their size?
It's not about
good point.
dominance. It's what you could get
I'm
away
asking.
with.
The thing is, they're not afraid of black
Yeah,
men.
that's a good point too, Charles Faulkner. I think that the fact that black women have the ability to weaponize the police,
Hmm.
makes them feel more powerful than they truly are.
What's happening to black women that need protection from?
So I guess my question to follow up with that is, what do you think it'll take for the reunion of the community in that, like you said, eventually there's not going to be a black community if we don't
Hmm.
fix it.
Do,
So do we need a color purple reversed, or
no,
you know what I mean?
no.
Like,
What black women need to decide is what kind of black community do they want, and do they want to actually work for it? If they don't, then it's not going to happen.
but what creates the mass? From your opinion and what you've seen, and again your expertise, what creates the mass? You know,
Okay. If they took out all the welfare and all the social programs for black women, it would actually change within like a year. immediately because they have to respond to the environment. If you're not going to do that, nothing's going to change. Can't
I was
do
gonna
you
ask.
do you have the power to do that as black men
No, we don't
No.
at all.
when it's not going to change?
Mm.
They have to make a
So,
decision.
so the first thing is we need to get ourselves to a position where we can change that, or
You're not going to get yourself to that position. Somebody's got an echo. Okay, you're not going to get yourself in a position. This is a global thing. It's not a local thing. It's not a black thing. It's not a white thing. It's a global thing. You can't change the whole environment of the whole world. It's not going to happen. You have to adapt to what's coming. That's all you can do. You can't go put the toothpaste back into the tube. It's not going to happen. You got to adapt to what's coming.
And that is why, like SYSBM and some of the other groups are essentially like that is their way of adapting, looking outside of the black community for mates.
Yeah, I mean, but it's happening on the ground anyway. Because black women say, "How can I stop my son from dating out of his race and choosing other kinds of women?" So don't send them to school with them. If they're not around them, they can't date them. What the first thing you do? I want him to go to the best school possible. I send him to a lily white school with lily white people and lily white girls. So guess what he's going to choose?
Pink tie.
He's going pink. Susie, I hear that all the time. Susie Pink Toe. What is it with you pro blacks and that Susie fucking Pink Toe? Oh, I get sick of that.
because
Oh,
it's pink and whatever, all of them, right? So
no. That's a pet name.
No, I'm joking.
For pro black women and white girls. They call her Susie Pink Toe. Am I right, concreterose?
Definitely.
As soon as she said it, I said, you look, you gonna get me in trouble. Look at you.
Concrete baby.
You thought that was gonna slip by, didn't you?
I tried to say it kind of low.
So
Susie Pink Toe.
how likely do you think it is that our community will be healed by any stretch of the imagination?
It's not. Black. I actually played a video right where a black woman is actually talking to her daughter. I don't know how real it was, right? But the thing is, and her daughter called some other kid's father a bitch because he was at home and working in the house rather than out working
I saw that.
with his wife. And I said, okay. I said, and she's Generation A. If Generation A girls feel that way about black men, like to disrespect them like that, guess what? There's no hope.
And
Get
the
ready.
thing is, her mom, she got that ideology. She said, "Mom, just like you told me, men
Yes, they
that
told
don't
me.
work." Yeah, her mom, that was like something that she learned from her mother.
Mm-hmm. Spreading. I mean, they haven't made a decision to stop it and reverse it. Guess what's going to happen? It's going to perpetuate itself. And if it perpetuates itself, black boys are going to say, "I don't want to." In fact, I don't want to marry somebody like my mother. In fact, Kevin just had a show about that. How come you don't choose your mother? And that's going to happen. That's the way the millennials felt that way. The Z's are actually acting upon it, and the age is just going to get worse. Only black women can actually turn this tide. If they don't, okay, oh well.
You
What
are
what do you
absolutely
what's your odds? You think black women are actually going to change, sir?
right.
Um, so I don't know. Maybe I'm just
What's
ideological.
what's your
Yeah, no, I'm
gut
getting there.
feel? Okay.
Uh, 50-50, right?
Oh,
Because
that was high.
yeah, no, because right, like the
Damn, he got more hope than me.
yeah,
Damn,
the
that's
reason
good.
why
Exactly.
I'm gonna tell you why I say that, because logic gives way, emotion gives way to logic every time, and no matter how long it takes, that it's inevitable. As I said in my
Inevitable. What's inevitable?
emotion gives way to logic every time.
Okay, well, if it does that way, then there's no hope.
Say that again.
If that is the case, there's no hope.
Do you feel like no hope is illogical?
Yes,
Okay.
you're looking at it.
So you feel like hope is more emotional than the logic?
Yes, that's what hope is. Hope is not based on fact. It's based on feeling.
I guess the only issue I have with that is that it was hope that got black people to where there was a civil rights movement, there was a freedom of a sense, and so hope isn't to me illogical. It may be fantastical in some senses, but not illogical.
There are very logical reasons why civil rights happened and happened in the order that it did happen. Okay, very, very. If you go back and look at it, stop looking at it from catchphrases and actually study the economic and the surrounding reasons why it actually came about. Didn't come
Absolutely,
about
I
for no
agree with
reason.
that. Right.
So that they had more to do with the facts on the ground than hope.
Right. And so, in the same sense that it wasn't just emotionally driven, it wasn't just people were mad about how they were being treated. It made sense from an economic standpoint.
Give me your facts why you think that the black community is going to come back to the way it was. Give me facts, not what your opinions. Give me the facts. What's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? What trends do you see that make you think that way?
Welfare is running out. Welfare isn't something that's going to last for the next 20, 30 years in the rate that it's going. Welfare will diminish or be non-existent entirely.
Okay.
So
guess who's mostly on welfare? Is it black women or white women?
Right.
Well, definitely white women, yeah.
So in other words, if white women are lower class and they don't have men to pick up the slack, guess who they're going to choose if they can? Any man that can support them.
Right.
It doesn't even have to be a man in this case. I'm seeing a lot of women enter into relationships with other women, like that. You know, they're using any method they can to replace the black man.
If they whatever man they can find, whatever support they can find, and the reason that the black community stays so cohesive is because the miscegenation laws. Black men had no choice except to be with these group of women. That doesn't exist anymore.
Where in the hell is that bill coming from?
That is my phone going off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let me mute up. Let me go cut it off. I'll be right back.
Brother, you just got to hit the volume button on it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not next to it, so.
I got you.
There it goes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we are going to next have Officer Faulkner to jump on in here and get his commentary. Thank you for your patience. Haven't seen you in quite some time either. How's it going? And what's your question for BGS?
Been busy. Been extremely busy. Jesus Christ. Oh, man. Since everybody has this question for BGS, I'm going to ask it. Why do people think that you and I side with Glendon when, if anybody actually listened to the live stream that I had, what's moral may be legal, may be practical, may be functional. But is BGS still there? So BGS, what's your take on the Glendon? What's your take on the whole Glendon situation?
Well, number one, morals are actually, I actually ask people, where'd you get the idea that 18 is of legal age? Where'd you get that from? As morally, right? When it wasn't 20 years ago or 30 years ago or 50 years ago, where'd you get it? The laws changed before morals actually changed. Look at abortion, right? Abortion, when I came up, was actually very immoral. Is it immoral anymore? It wasn't. It's not anymore. It's legal now, right? So morals change with the laws. That's what happens. Same thing with 18 years old. They made a standard and people adapted to it. That's where the morals come from. That's why I ask. People said this is where I was taught. Exactly. That's the way you were taught. They weren't taught that 100 years ago, 60 years ago.
Yeah.
So if something is against the law to a certain degree,
mm-hmm.
and it does pertain to young adults having sex, and we've seen what has happened when young adults have had sex or when they've been messed with. We've seen the results of that. Does it make a difference that everybody didn't denounce the behavior? I think people have an issue with it because it wasn't totally all the way denounced versus logical arguments or certain types of arguments being made for it.
I'll answer you with that one. In the state of Maryland, guess what the age of consent is?
16?
15?
16.
Okay.
I've been on calls where this parent was like, "My 16-year-old is messing with this guy who's 21. I want him locked up." You know what I told him? Sorry,
Hmm.
Yeah,
nothing I could do.
because
No,
that's the law, right?
Mm-hmm.
But can't they
sorry.
do both, Danny? Can't they denounce it but still have the conversation on the difference between legality and morality? Like
It's
When you
both.
have a
Morality,
situation, when
morality.
you have a situation going on, such as Glendon Cameron, and the
mm-hmm.
things that Glendon Cameron got on
And I
film,
don't even know really what he said. So
oh girl, when I say it was
He did it on
horrific.
purpose. Yeah.
Whether he did it on, if he did it on purpose, it was the dumbest thing that I've ever seen on the internet, one
Okay.
of. And then when you talk about children, or you're talking about people that's considered a young adult, or somebody in their teens,
Mm-hmm.
essentially,
Mm-hmm.
when you talk about that, and there is a gray area, or when there's something in the laws say that you can't engage with a minor at a certain point. If you're a certain age, you shouldn't be engaged with a minor. That's against the law.
Mm-hmm.
When people try to introduce non-moral, amoral arguments, oh well, it's like this over here in this country. Well, we're not in those countries.
Exactly.
We are in these United States
So,
where
so,
these
so,
laws are prevalent.
so in other words, the laws inform the morals. That's what we're trying to
The
say.
laws do inform the morals, and not that I'm actually in agreement with that, but even when the laws do form the morals,
Mm-hmm.
we can't even come together to a head on that being wrong or whatever.
It's not just us. It's the whole society. It's not just us.
Yeah,
It's not
I
just Black
agree.
society.
I agree.
In fact, marijuana, would it be immoral if it wasn't illegal?
I
Uh-huh.
think it would be moral if it
What's the
was
difference?
illegal.
I'm
What
saying
would
is,
Um,
make it more?
what will make it moral if they all of a sudden say you can actually smoke marijuana? Would that make it moral?
no, it shouldn't make it moral, but the whole thing is marijuana and somebody actually messing with children is a totally different thing. Like I said, we do
How,
understand
how,
the effects.
how do you define law defines what children? What's a child?
A person that's prepubescent.
Prepossessing. So those so if somebody's 13, 14, 15 is not prepossessing, are they?
They aren't prepubescent, but then we talk about predatory behavior and what's seen as predatory behavior. If Glendon Cameron got on video and actually said that, well, if they have parents, and they have parents that are heavily involved, then you should stay away from those. That's how I didn't get caught. When he says things like that, then
Mm-hmm.
okay, then there is morals that should be involved because the behavior was predatory. Glendon Cameron wasn't seeking out these young women to wife them up, to take care
Mm-hmm.
of them, to take
Mm-hmm.
care of their
I
yeah,
emotional
that
and
agree.
sounds predatory.
he was going after them to be predatory. And I think when there isn't a clear fuck you, Glendon Cameron, then that's where the problem become comes in because it wasn't clear and he was predatory.
No, number one, Glendon Cameron's not part of the manosphere.
Oh,
Never was.
oh, because the way he made it seem in his videos, he shouted out O'Shea. Edward Anderson gave him a lot of shouts. Everybody was on Glendon Cameron's ass until Glendon Cameron came out with these things that he said.
O'Shea and O'Shea and Ed will tell you that Glendon Cameron's not part of the manosphere. Never has been. He don't like the manosphere.
Interesting.
He dates white women, okay, exclusively. Okay, he don't
The
like the manosphere.
manosphere
It,
Be,
participates.
because he does what business. So does Erica. Erica's not part of the manosphere. She does
B,
business.
BGS, if I
Yeah.
may say, it was a norm in the, like you saw, call it purple type
Yes,
situation where if the young lady was 16, 15 even,
13.
uh 13, yes,
Mm-hmm.
because black culture back then was a case where if she was viewed as a young lady by then or a woman,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to put out children. Now
Mm-hmm.
they became more quote unquote
Aretha,
civilized.
remember Aretha Franklin's story? First, he had a first child at 12,
Yeah,
and a second child at 14.
and that's the case where a lot of
Well, wasn't she supposedly abused by her dad?
No, she wasn't.
No.
That's what I heard.
No, her dad got another 13-year-old pregnant.
Oh,
It
but
wasn't
like, I do think that we like, okay, I don't really talk about like yesteryear as it relates to, what's legal today, because that's anachronistic. We can't apply today's morality, today's laws, today's, how things are done and standards of today to what happened yesteryear.
that means morals are not solid. They shift with the time and the law.
True.
Just like abortion was immoral in 1970. It is not even considered a moral act now. It's actually considered standard 50 years later.
You made a good argument when you said that the basis for our morality are the laws. I said, slavery was once legal. It was,
Yeah, and then when the laws changed, it became moral. That's all I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, to me, it was a big to-do about nothing. If you don't like the dude, don't like the dude, okay? Would I let the dude date my daughter? No. The thing is that, but that white lady did. Okay. All right. That's not the first time. I can't tell you the amount of 16-year-olds that have been pushed by mothers in the black community, okay? But they just don't talk about it.
I just want to say this, like a lot of people act like they haven't been to high school.
Oh.
And that 16-year-old girl will go chase after some 21, 22-year-old guys.
Even if that's why I don't necessarily, I don't like, too, that the argument is being made and we're also comparing, like, somebody being touched or someone prepubescent who, to, like, at 16, women, like, even if it's not Glenn and Cameron, which he does sound despicable. I didn't hear everything he said, but, they would be sleeping with an 18-year-old or someone even close to their age. Like, there's nothing that we could do to police them to ensure that they're not going to engage in sex at all.
Michael Jai White, said he had women grown in their late 20s and 30s when he was 15, 16.
Yeah. My son had 30-year-old women chasing him when he was 15. So
it's not just about men going after young women. We highlighted that recently too, about women, and a woman who was recently jailed. Another teacher was impregnated by her students. So it's women going after young boys too, and that's just as disgusting.
And if you think about it, they're not called rapists. They're not called child molesters when they do it. And the sad part about it is, this is the law. And remember, when we talk about morality versus legality and functionality and practicality, they somehow she gets custody of that child and and there's cases where they got child support from the family of that 15-year-old boy, even though that boy is considered a victim.
Yeah.
But in Georgia, women can't even rape. A woman can't rape a man or a young boy. It would be assault. It would be sexual assault. It would not be constituted as rape.
It depends. They changed the law on that.
Yeah.
Not in Georgia.
They changed. It depends, because the only thing that made it rape was forcible entry to the vagina with the penis. So they're changing the laws now to make them a little bit ambiguous, because for the longest time, even though you get the same amount of time, it's just statute differently.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
So a lot of these things, when we look at these morals, morals are very suggestive, because if I put you out there in the woods and you're hungry, it's been 2 days and you're hungry as hell, and you see food on a pie on a windowsill like back in the day, are you really going to be saying stealing's wrong, or are you going to try to feed yourself for survival?
Yeah.
Right.
If people,
that's not a good example to me.
It's a good example of rather morals versus. If
people really feel strongly about age of consent, change the law.
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying, BGS, but I think Danny's right that, Charles, that is a bad example, because that's an actual need. Like, you have to eat. You don't have to have
In other words,
engage in
in
sex with
other
an
words,
underage or a girl who's
in
just
other,
over the legal
in
limit.
other, in other words, just like back in the day, if you asked your grandmother what's her age when she first had a child, what's the difference? They only wanted girls to finish school, and
Yeah,
most of
but
the
Well,
that's what
the
I
girls.
said.
difference
It's anachronistic
there's a
What
lot
for
time
of
us
is it,
to
y'all?
differences
apply our
between back
standards
in the day
today
and
to what
now.
happened then.
The
Even
thing is, that's the point is that morals change. People act like morals actually come down from God and
Hmm.
they're actually solid. They're not. That's all we're saying. They're not solid.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Predictable.
My
and
morals have
don't get me
changed on certain
wrong.
issues.
Don't
Mm-hmm.
get me wrong. I absolutely positively agree that morals are definitely subjective.
Mm-hmm.
However, when it comes down to people being predatory towards young adults, children, whatever
Mm-hmm.
you want to
Mm-hmm.
call it, there
Okay.
should be a united front against that,
Okay.
especially as it
they have
pertains to back. Excuse me, let
they
me
have
just finish this.
go ahead, finish.
Especially as it pertains to black men, because y'all are probably being taken advantage more so by anybody, and
Hmm.
nobody is advocating for y'all. So I
That's
would think that
true.
y'all would be the biggest advocates of
Ain't
that.
nobody done. If you guys live in Georgia, you live in Atlanta, right? Ain't
Hmm.
nobody done nothing about the white men preying on black boys in Atlanta ever. Black white gay men. This goes on all the time. Nobody's done shit about that. Don't even talk about it. That's been
they
going on
You
for
actually.
know
like the
what?
last
And
40,
to be
30,
honest,
40
that's the
years.
first that I've heard of that. That's the first that I've heard of that.
I mean, you got to look at it. There are laws against pedophilia, which is prepubescent.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're talking about, hey, 15 and this guy's 21, no, you got to go to jail.
No, but the
16,
problem isn't generally 15 and he's 21. The problem is he's 35 and she's 15 or she's 16, whatever
Hmm.
the
well, if
legal
it's,
age
well,
age of consent is. That's the problem.
Well,
but this is the point.
once you
This
hit the
is,
age of consent, that means anybody. It's a free for all. She can make her
Mm.
own decision. She's not.
it's
In other
just,
words, he puts up an ad, somebody answers it.
The
But
fact
the
that he would know what type of ads, this is the shit that kind of bothers me, because that whole
Okay.
situation bothered me like
Okay.
tremendously. The
Okay.
fact that he knew what those ads were attracting and he
Mm-hmm.
still chose not to change those ads up or to
Okay.
seek out anything different, it was
Okay.
just kind of amazing to me, because I'm like, you know exactly what it is you're doing
Yeah.
and you know exactly what to do not to get caught. And
Mm.
he kind of outlined that it was like a how to do for predators. I didn't,
yeah,
Wow.
I couldn't
Wow.
stand it.
Okay. And the thing is, I wouldn't have known about it if black men weren't bringing it over to the manosphere talking about it. I didn't even know
yeah.
about it.
Yeah, but it was interesting. It seems like certain content creators in this space will endorse people that they'll say that's outside of the manosphere.
Hmm.
Glendon Cameron has been endorsed by quite a few people over in this space
Why did they endorse him?
because of his business acumen.
And what a lot
Yeah.
of guys. One guy kept putting it over and over again. We need to talk about what more about what business, right?
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep.
So
Yep.
so
So
that's
she's
why
saying
they.
you should withdraw your support when it comes out that someone is
I
engaging in
yeah,
predatory behavior.
I mean, me personally, I've never supported Glendon Cameron as far as anything, right? I don't share his videos or anything like that because um, he's not my stilo. I have nothing against him, but he's not my stilo. But the thing is, we get mapped. Everybody gets mapped on because he has to talk about a couple of content creators.
Yeah. The 5 degrees of separation type thing. And
Yeah,
to be honest, you can't control someone else's foolishness and recklessness. The only
yeah,
thing you can control is your association with them. But as far as someone telling me how to voice out against it, I'll give my 2 cents, but I'm not going to be out there with a picket sign. I mean, if the gentleman was that fool, that reckless to say what he said, it, and that's on him. He'll have to deal with the consequence of that. But
yeah,
that's his bag. He has to deal with it.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. I just told Edward, I said, well, why don't you let this die, okay?
I'll say something to that,
Mm-hmm.
especially for Jerome Whiteside. First and foremost, when you're trying to say people are telling on themselves, excuse me, you never had to go to a call where a 4-year-old girl was sexually abused. So dismiss me with your BS. Okay? I've seen the ugliness of humanity first and foremost with the best of it. I will tell you that I'm very real about any subject you ask. I am the same person to look at Black America in its totality. There are some L's that Black women have to carry on their own and nobody else, just like there's some L's Black men have to carry on their own and nobody else. There are some problems that we both share the blame. Each and every time we go to this, just like I had on my show, that morality, that legality, that practicality, and functionality.
Mm-hmm.
When we look at this and we look at the modern time, we can't say that we're a more modern people, but every time you go past a TV set, there's something sexually explicit or something that's in depraved violence. But at the same time, we had a functionality for marriage and not just a ceremonial display. So if you're gonna talk about this, I think people get, oh my God, this is just wrong. And if I'm looking, and these are women I went to school with who talked about this, and I'm just like, you do know, I remember when you were going to school, you were coming out of a car of a 25-year-old at 16, 17.
Mm-hmm.
You know what though? I love that people will use that as an example. We've all seen it. So I'm not denying that it's never happened or it hasn't happened across America, but let's not act like it was the majority of the girls that was going to your school. The majority was not doing that. The majority wasn't. No, the majority wasn't. It was some.
I don't think it was the majority because the girls who did it, they stuck out. But also, in addition to that, the person who is a person's reasoning isn't even your frontal lobe isn't completely developed. You don't even until you're 25 to 27. Your reasoning and judgment isn't even fully developed. So I really and truly, I'm going to hold the adult more responsible than I would a 15-year-old girl that he's picking up from school.
How about the girl's parents?
Wait a minute.
Oh, absolutely, her
Before
parents.
you get off into that, we did actually have a conversation on fast ass girls. We actually sat here and had the conversation,
and we got kind of chewed up about it too.
We did, but we actually had the real conversation about it. Mm-hmm. We didn't play around with it, because there is something that needs to be addressed there. Everybody sees those girls as victims when they do that.
Change the law.
There's something that needs to be done by that too. So. Just to put that out there.
If you can pass the law where parents can actually change their sex of their kid before they actually reach puberty, you can change this law.
Well, that makes me ask.
And I'm gonna say this real quick. So every time people use their frontal lobe excuse, what's the age that you could join the military and go into the workforce?
That doesn't matter. I don't use.
It does.
I don't use the American government as my bar for what's right and what's wrong. That's not.
So in other words, if you say you don't use the American government, so you're going to run a red light.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to ensure that I am protecting others as well as myself. But I'm not using just because they permit something does not mean that all logic and should go out the window. You still need to. So the American government overrides what scientists have proven, that your frontal lobe isn't fully developed, and that's where your judgment and reason and all of that reasoning is developed.
Okay. So what law would you make if you wait to when women get 27 years old to start having sex? You're actually going to throw away what 3/4 of their fertility?
Yeah.
No, for me, it's not. For me, I'm simply highlighting the fact that I feel that the adult in the situation. This is based on my feelings and how I operate. So I'm simply highlighting the fact that. For me, the adult in the situation is more culpable. If she has parents that are negligent, they are absolutely culpable. I talked about that extensively during our covering of what was going on with R. Kelly, how I think the parents are negligent and should be wholly held responsible.
So not only that, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and BGS, he could probably give me more detail on this. A lot of the southern states in the 80s and beyond that had it where the consent laws were 16, some 15 or 14.
Yeah, some down to 13. Yeah.
Yes,
I think
and
it was 13.
Yeah.
and they changed it now up to where some might be 16, or mostly
Yeah.
of them are
Or
18.
they have that Romeo and Juliet law where
With
it
5
remains,
years,
but yeah, exactly.
within 5 years of the. But my question is this: the question was always if the young lady became pregnant, the shotgun wedding type metaphor was used with she would have some form of coverage as far as marriage. It wasn't a case of him having his way with her and leaving her with child if she became impregnated. So it was a case of her life would be protected, or her lifestyle would be made for her at the age of, say, 16 or even 15, back in those times when and I'm not talking about 50, 80 years ago. I'm talking about when they changed the laws probably in the last 25 years from 16 to 18 or 15 to 16, wherever state you may be in.
My thing, if you feel that outrage, change the law.
Yeah.
That's my thing, because this stuff didn't come out until they started changing the laws. They changed the laws and moved the age of consent up, then people actually followed that. So the thing is, if you want, I would say make it 30. Okay, fuck it, make it 30.
Listen, the thing is, the more that we evolve as people, the more you see like laws are changing and are being modified to account for us evolving and the evolution that we are.
Your environment has evolved. You have not. You still get your period at 12. You still get your period at 12. That hasn't changed in 2 million years. Okay.
Well, we're not giving in to our inhibitions and our lower selves.
Oh, we still do.
Yes, you do.
We're not
Yes,
expected
we
to.
still
I'll
do.
say that. Yeah, you're gonna always have people that are still engaging.
Oh,
in that
we
type of
still
stuff.
do. That's what happening with the provider
That's the
female.
problem.
Provider female giving into their emotions and their biology. Okay. I don't like it. I'm gonna get a divorce.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's different. That's a completely different
it's not.
situation.
No, it's
There are
not.
too many.
No, it's not.
There are too many. There are too many external factors that you would have to take into account in order to break down something as far as a person leaving a marriage or relationship.
No, not really.
We had a discussion about this.
Well, we got to get Jessica in here because we do got to go ahead and get ready to wrap it up.
All right.
Jessica, thank you for joining the panel. Karzaya, thank you also for your support. We appreciate you, boo. She says, right, C. Rose. Jessica, thank you for joining the panel. What is your contribution to the discussion?
Hi, the side boob is here.
Thank you, side boob. Make your money, baby. Make your money. I have. Everybody asked me about Jessica. I said I have no problem with Jessica. Okay.
Concrete.
Never have.
Let's go on the flash.
Use whatever you need to do.
Let me
make
Google
yourself
a picture. Let me Google a picture real quick and put it in my avatar.
I have no problem. I think it's mostly her voice. It's not necessarily the picture, but the thing is, whatever makes you popular, I have no problem with it.
Well, to be honest, I haven't had that side boob picture in probably a good year and a half.
Somebody's got it.
So it was there before my channel even started, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think we can attribute that to what I'm doing on my channel.
That's the name.
Make that money.
That's the name that somebody in Manosphere gave you. I didn't. I don't particularly care.
I know, but you were just saying it, and I was joking. But when you make insinuations like make that money, and
I said make that money.
You're calling me side boob. I don't know, BGS. I don't know what your intentions are. I can't speak for you, but I can say that my intentions are not to come here to purely make money.
I didn't say they were.
Not my intentions. I know, but when you say make your money, you know what the insinuation.
That draws attention, and basically, I've been a content creator for like 8 years, and basically, concreterose and Danny can tell you, money matters. It does.
But
I don't think many of us would be doing this if we didn't get if there was no kind of financial compensation
remuneration. Yeah. So I don't have no problem with. I don't have any problem with whatever content creator does if it's in good taste. I don't have no problem. And the guys who want to come over there and actually, what the hell is that?
They busting over there. What's that?
That's just.
Oh, I thought it was Charles, child. I thought he was on a call. Okay, I'm just making sure.
Center mass.
They moved to my side of Atlanta, didn't it?
Center mass, baby. Center mass.
I'm gonna put it to you this way: if you heard a gunshot that close on a microphone, you'll be deaf.
Yeah,
So
that's
it
true.
would be a lot
Yeah,
louder than
Somebody
that.
with headphones is mad right
yeah,
now.
yeah. But people ask me about people. I don't bring people up just to bring people up. People ask me about it, about content creators. I didn't come up here to actually talk about a content creator or any subject. I just answer whatever question is actually presented toward me. That's it. I have no ill will or uh, I don't have an opinion about most people in the on YouTube. I'm actually very neutral about them. Danny and Concrete can kind of tell you about that. I'm pretty neutral about content creators. You ask me about them, I give you an opinion. Uh, there's very few people I don't like. I could probably count them on one hand that I don't like.
So did Concrete or Sister George say, what do you think about Jessica X before you called me Cyber?
They asked me what female
Female content creator.
content creators do I like, and they asked me what about Jessica X. Okay, somebody asked about you. I didn't.
Okay,
Maybe
that's
somebody in the
fine.
chat.
That's
Yeah.
okay. So you didn't ask personally.
No.
I was talking to Concrete.
Oh
But
no,
either
girl! No, listen. I don't be. I'm no. I'm not. Why would I ask in your absence? I didn't ask him about anyone in particular. The only thing that I said was that when he said that we were one of the top female content creators that he watched, I said I thought it would be Kendra. I didn't mention your name, child.
Yeah, there's somebody else
no,
in
I was
chat.
just asking
Somebody
because
else
he
in
said
chat
he only
posted it up,
brings it
and
up.
somebody asked me about you,
Yeah.
about Jessica X. I said, that's not. I didn't come up here to actually talk about any
Yeah,
content
I
creator
don't
for
do
the most part.
underhanded stuff like that,
No,
child. You don't got to worry about it.
Okay, so you went to the chat to bring me up. That's fine.
no, I didn't know. Somebody asked. I didn't.
Yeah, from the chat. So you went to the chat to bring me up.
Okay. If you would feel offended, babe, I'm sorry. Okay.
I'm not offended. I'm
Well
not
then,
offended.
well then, stop
Honestly, I'm
acting
not. I
offended.
was no. I was actually mentioning it jokingly as I said the side boob is here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, what's your question or comment?
I just think it was interesting that we were still, harping on about the legality when it comes to the whole Glendon situation.
I am too.
Do you think that it could be seen as a hypocrisy for you to, in one light, say that what Glendon did was legal, but when you speak on your channel, you do make arguments that are feelings based of what you think that women should be doing, but women could hit you back with the same argument and say, well, what I'm doing is legal.
Yeah.
Do you not see it as exactly the same
No,
thing?
I can not like it, and say, but it's legal. There's a lot of things that women do that are legal. I don't think it's moral to actually take a man's money for child support and alimony and have him sleeping in the car, but it's legal. Okay. I don't like it, but it's legal. So what am I going to do about it? So
But when
there's a
we were
lots of things.
having the conversation about
Hmm.
Glendon,
Uh
the
huh.
argument that kept being made was, well, it's legal. The law
Hmm.
doesn't care about your morality. It's
Yeah.
legal. The law morals are subjective.
The
No one
morals are
cares.
subjective.
The
Yeah,
law is
morals
the
are subjective.
law. So why do you have a whole
Uh,
channel
More,
that's talking about morality when you preach about morality, right? Like you said, 8 years of content where you preach about morality, but as
I,
soon as
I,
something
I,
happens,
I don't, I don't,
in an
I don't,
instance,
I don't preach morality. Okay, I don't.
there are definitely moral arguments that come throughout your work.
There can be moral arguments, but I'm also black pill. I say morals are actually created by the people in society for certain purposes. I said that all the time.
So
So
why
what
bring them up?
huh?
So why bring them up?
Because moral arguments are about decisions that you're going to make or how you're going to handle your society, one way or the other. And some are legal morals. Sometimes morals actually affect laws, and sometimes vice versa. How are people trained? What do they feel? How do you adapt to a society or an environment that you're in? That's what my channel's about. Okay. Now, spirituality. When I actually talk about my spirituality, that's different. Okay, that's my personal belief, which I do try for the most part to keep out of my work. I try to stay neutral.
But then if other people bring that into the situation, they're wrong. But when you do it, you're not
No,
wrong.
I didn't say they were wrong. I said what I'm saying is what I'm saying is that I'm getting you to think. I'm not telling you what to think. You can feel any way you want. They can tell you that. Danny and Concrete can tell you that. I don't tell you what to think. I have to bring up, consider everything. Don't just blindly feel something and just blindly have an opinion. And when there's evidence to the opposite, that other people feel another way, your
That's why he
opinion is not.
highlighted when I said I feel. He said, "Oh,
Yes,
you feel."
you feel. Yeah.
But he's a concrete. A lot of his content would be feeling based.
No,
It would be feeling based
no,
when
it's
it
not.
comes to what
No,
he feels like
it's not.
women
No,
should.
it's not. It's not.
I'm just answering to concrete, and
No,
then
what
you
I'm saying.
can.
Well, you're saying something
Why do
about
you
my
say
channel
that
that's
though?
not true.
Well,
I was
I want
about
to know why you
concrete.
think
I was
that.
about to
Okay.
explain to you, and then he interrupted.
Okay, go ahead, Jess.
So I'm saying when you're talking about what you feel as though women should be doing in society, legally, or what they shouldn't be doing, legally, they are allowed to do certain things that he is against,
But when he
right?
does that,
Oh, no,
typically he'll provide some
wait,
sort
wait,
of data and explain as to
So
why.
concrete, I can
oh,
provide
hold
data
on,
and show
hold
that
on, hold on a second, hold on a second,
girls
hold on,
that
hold on a
are
second,
having
hold on,
sex at
hold on a
16
second, no,
years
no,
old
hold on a
have
second,
certain outcomes
hold on a
when they're
second.
having.
Okay,
Hold on a
let
second.
him respond to
What I
it.
want to say is, anybody that's ever been on my channel, what did I say about the word feel? I tell them not to use it. Tell
Yeah.
me what you think and give evidence about why you think that way. It's never about feeling. I don't allow feeling on
Right.
my channel, especially amongst men.
Right. So you can say that 16 is legal to be having sex, right? But when you
Yes.
have a 16 and 17-year-old that are engaging in a sexual encounter with their mother, and you say, but it's legal though, we can look at what the repercussions are mentally
Uh
for
huh.
those two children who are in that situation. There is evidence to support that. We can also talk about the evidence to support what happens when you start having sex at 16, the
Mhm.
outcomes for that, teenage
Mhm.
pregnancy. We can go on and on and on, but we'll
Mhm.
advocate for teenage pregnancy in one sense, right? And say, well, back in the day, women were having families at 13. It
They
was all
were.
okay. It was all okay. But if we look at the scientific evidence that backs it up, we see that it's not okay. We see that the children who come from parents who are teenagers when they have those children
Mhm.
are likely to suffer bad outcomes.
Why?
So there is scientific.
Why? Why?
Why? Because it goes into the reasoning of.
Why?
I'm, I'm answering you,
No,
BGS.
you're not.
I
Why?
I am. It goes
No.
into the reasoning ability of a
No.
teenager to be able.
No.
Are you going to let me finish?
You're
Go ahead.
wrong. But
Why do
go
you,
ahead.
It goes into the reasoning and the logic, right, that a 16-year-old has compared to somebody that's in their 20s. Or we can talk about Glendon when he was involved with these kids, right? He was 34, the girl was 16.
Okay.
Are we going to sit here for a moment and say that a 16-year-old has the same decision making capabilities as somebody that's 34? In
Sometimes.
society, do we
Sometimes. Yeah.
put the same
no.
amount of onus
Oh,
on a
I've seen it.
16-year-old as we do a 34-year-old?
Right.
It depends.
Generally, no, we don't, because we're able to acknowledge that there are differences between the two. And that's scientific, right? That's
Okay.
scientific.
Are you asking me a question or are you going to give me the dissertation?
Go ahead, BGS.
In other words, 100 years ago, 16 or 13 being on a farm and having a very prescribed life in a marriage was fine. Okay. In that environment. Okay. In their environment, perfectly fine. They did it for 1,000 years. Nothing happened. Kids were raised actually better then than they are now. Okay,
Were
they're
they?
better. Yes, they were. They're better parents then than they are now because the environment actually lended to that. Okay, nowadays you live in a postmodern society that's urban. Okay, where it's more complex, so it takes more time to grow. Right. That's why they keep raising the age because the complexity actually changes. So now a teenage child, okay, a teenage woman, right, at 13, 14, 15, that doesn't have a prescribed life like on a farm that has prescribed duties and protections, okay, is different. It's a different environment. That's why come you change things. People adapt to
Yeah.
their environment, not vice versa.
Now, I do want to say, like, when you think about 100 years ago, a 16-year-old and the maturity that they possessed versus a 16-year-old today, and you did highlight that, BGS, the environment is completely different. So they're not going to be remotely as mature as someone who has to tend house, take care of an entire farm, and do all the things that they have to do.
It's
So I do think that,
it's not that a 16
hard
year
to make
old
that
was
comparison.
it's not that a
They do it all
16
over
year
the
old was
world.
more
They do it all over the
mature back
world.
then. A
They do it all
16
over
year
the
old
world.
wasn't more mature. The fact is that the duties that they had were a lot more simple. So when
Yes.
he says
Yeah.
that we're living in
But there is a
a
likelihood that
modern
they would have
era,
also been more mature because they
Mm-hmm. They
essentially
had
had
to do certain
womanhood
things.
training. They are trained
Started
from the
True.
time they
the
are
time they
young
were
kids.
small. Yeah.
Even my grandmother, like they got in the kitchen and started cooking at 5 and 6 years old to start
Right.
preparing cornbread and learning how to cook. They were standing on a stool picking greens and things of that nature. Whereas you don't see young women today doing those types of things. So yeah, her reasoning and judgment still, I agree with that part, that scientifically everything that we know today still remained 100 years ago. Their reasoning and judgment still would not have been the same as a 34-year-old. However, there was a higher level of maturity for those young girls than there would be of a 16-year-old today in most instances.
no.
And
So
then
again, what
society has changed so much to where a girl does not have to be the same type of mature that she was
Very
back in
true.
the day,
right?
Exactly.
which
Right.
makes it absolutely worse because she's not
Absolutely.
the same type of mature that she was back in the day. She wasn't worried about raising families at 13 as opposed to her going to school at
Literally, those
13.
girls were groomed to
Yeah,
be
Yes.
wives at by
Yes.
16.
And the boys were grown to be
Yeah.
husbands at 15, 16 years old.
Hmm.
It's a
right.
different environment.
I'm gonna read these super chats real
It,
quick.
Go
Shout
ahead.
out to Karzaya. She said, "So what about the girls who had their
The food.
menstruations at
Yeah, that's
9?"
food. The laws will still protect them. Okay, you still can't mess with them at 9 because they're pubescent. The law protects them, so it's not even a question at 9. Okay,
Hmm.
and primitive society maybe okay because there's no laws against it.
Hmm.
It depends on when the girl's actually ready. In this society, because it's so complex, so many people. Okay, you have to have laws in place to actually enforce or inform these moralities. In fact, I was just talking to Dr. Gigi yesterday about this. Hobbes, who is actually a English philosopher, said this, 400 years ago. Okay, in nature there is no philosophy, there is no morals. Okay,
Hmm.
people make them up as to adapt to their environment. That's what they do. That's all I was saying. People
Um,
making a moral a religious argument. That's basically what it is about what they were actually taught rather than actually exploring it. I don't do that on my channel. Okay, um, give me something more than how you feel. Okay, and go back and see how people have not physically changed in 10,000 years. They're still the same people. The environment around them has changed.
Mm.
People haven't changed.
Shout
again,
out
it's
to old Gibbs for
We're
the
gonna let you
15.
finish, Jess.
Um,
yeah, yeah.
he
Sorry.
he says good stuff, y'all. Thank you so much for the super chat. And
Hmm.
shout out to E Capone. He says Jessica X and BGS need to do shows together.
It would be an
Honey, I
interesting
would
dynamic.
definitely be here for it. I really
Yeah.
would be.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. There's a whole bunch of people who pay me money to do shows with them. It's like that. It's like okay,
shout
give
out
give
to
give me a good reason why, and I'll do it. The thing is, I need a good reason why.
Yeah.
shout out to number 16, teenage woman.
Yes, yes, yes. When are you when? A bat mitzvah. A bat mitzvah
Oh.
in Jewish society is
Hmm.
13. That's womanhood. Okay.
A
The
quinceañera.
Gesera is
Hmm.
basically womanhood
At
in
15.
15.
Hmm.
So
But those
yeah,
are
yeah.
in certain cultures, and what's for one culture may not necessarily be for
That
what's in
so
American culture.
in
Well,
other
they
words,
are in American cultures though. Like those are Jewish Americans still
yeah,
have the bar and bat
Yeah,
mitzvah.
but
Jewish
but it's still their
people who, I mean,
subsection
they
of
but they
their subsection of
but
their culture.
but they
yeah, I
follow
don't
the
consider a
law.
16-year-old a woman now.
But
My
Right.
kids are in their 20s and they ain't even women to me. You don't behave like women. So, yeah.
oh, and in their 20s. Oh my God.
I just think like when we speak about the bar mitzvah, you know, we say, well, bar mitzvah, 13 years old is where you become a woman in the Jewish community.
Hmm.
13 years old is also where we become where you become a man, right? In the Jewish community also.
Yeah.
But are we going to sit here? And this is where the double standards start
No, it's
coming
not.
in, right? The
Why?
shift. Because we're not putting the same onus on a 13-year-old boy as we are on a 34-year-old man. We can acknowledge that there are differences.
Right.
But when we start saying that
That's
there
a
are
good point.
differences between a 16-year-old or a 13-year-old girl and a 34-year-old woman, then all of a sudden, no. You know, in the
Yeah,
Jewish
and to be
community,
completely
you become
honest,
there's a
No,
double standard, and
no,
there's a
she
it's
did
morality
highlight
thing.
something. It's like their passage. It's like the rite of passage. It's you going into
uh,
adulthood, but you're not going to be
no,
expected to
no,
make
no.
all the decisions that a 30-year-old would make the
What
same
I'm
way.
Like
saying
there's the
is,
disingenuousness
no,
of
no. What I'm
it.
saying is, what is the definition of a woman versus a girl, and how does it change depending on where you're at and what society that you're in?
We know what the definition is in Western society. We know what the definition is when you're over in America, and we also know what the definition is here. And that's why I said if we want to speak about the legality of things, I showed you guys the evidence. I showed you, BGS, the evidence that day that guess what? A 16-year-old is a child.
Who
It's a
says?
child.
Who
According to the
says?
legal definition,
Uh huh.
a person under the legal age of majority
Legal
is a
definition. There we
child.
go.
Which
There we go.
changed.
Right. And that's why I
That
said if we
which
want to
if that's
just quickly, please, if I
okay.
could just finish.
Okay.
That's why I said if we want to start talking legality, right? Because legally it was okay. So if we're talking legality, then that man is dating a child. And then people had a problem with it. Don't say that, but that's the legality
She's
of it.
still
We're
she's a
focusing on
minor,
legality
right?
here.
She's a minor.
And then it's also disingenuous that we want to acknowledge the implications that people's personal moral decisions can have on society, the impact that it has. We can acknowledge that when women are doing certain things, and I'm here for it. I say yes, the moral behavior of certain individuals does impact society, but that also happens from the moral decisions that you might make as a man. But when we want to absolve that moral responsibility for men and say it's legal, but we want to put that moral responsibility on women, then we're having another double standard. And it
How?
takes away all the
How?
work that we're
How?
doing in this
How?
space when we're saying to,
How?
I'm explaining.
No, you're
It
not.
takes away, I am. It
No,
takes
you're
away the
not.
work that we're doing in this space when we are making moral arguments. We're saying, listen, as a woman, you're meant to do this. As a woman, you're meant to do that. You're meant to be this. Whatever. Those are moral
No, they're not.
arguments.
They're
But
practical
as soon
arguments.
as
They're
right,
practical
and even
arguments.
even practicality,
Hmm.
right? Practicality, it still comes down to your personal your
Not
personal
necessarily.
thoughts, and you can back your personal thoughts up through evidence and
Can
science,
we stick to
right?
one topic at a
Just
time
I
so we
am,
can
I
rest
am, but
respond? No, you're actually jumping all
BGS,
over.
it's because you're interrupting, so
Okay, okay, all right,
I'm
all right, all
responding
right,
to you
all
on the
right. I'm the
fly.
guest, ma'am. Okay. Now, if you want to go on and
We're,
give a speech, I'll leave. Okay.
No. Go ahead and do
No,
it. Speak
no,
away.
no, 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 no. What do you want us to respond to?
Speak away. Speak away. You're the guest.
In other words, morals are actually informed by law first. Okay. I brought up the tender years doctrine. It was actually moral for the father to have control of the children and the property and the woman. Right. If a woman wanted to leave, she left by herself. Okay. The law changed that. And over time, guess what? 100 years later, we don't even think about it. Well, of course, it's moral for the kids to be with the mother. Of course, the best parent for the child is the mother. Okay, because the law changed it. We actually adapted to what the law was. Same thing with the age of consent. We adapted to what the law was. I actually gave you an example about what is the definition of a woman. Okay. I actually gave you an example about bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah. It's 13. That's the definition of a woman in that society. We changed the definition according to according to the environment that we're in. Okay. If you want things to change, change the law. People actually adapt to it. Same thing with abortion. Abortion was immoral in 1970. It's not now. Okay, what's the practicality of? We actually talk about man, woman, child, husband, wife. Okay, if you're doing something as far as a partner and it works, good on you. The thing is, what happens when it doesn't work? You have to go back and see what you did to change it. It's not a moral argument. It's actually a very sound, practical argument.
So can I ask you a question? How
If you're
much?
asking me a question without a 5 minute question,
No,
make it
just
short.
a quick question. How much
Thank you.
lobbying have you done to change divorce law and family law?
Lobbying.
Hmm.
I was part of the MRA, so quite a bit.
Like, just give me some examples of what you did and who you spoke to.
I actually joined basically because I was actually a father. Uh, as far as getting things changed, as far as divorce laws and child support laws and child custody laws, this goes back some 35 years when my child says daddy. Okay, we actually started this because I saw a whole bunch of guys getting destroyed in the child support in divorce laws. Started this stuff like 30 years ago.
Okay,
So
so just give me an example of what you've done recently, who you've engaged with, what you had on the table. Just
okay, okay,
give me some of that.
right now, what I've discovered, and this is why the PhDs are here. You can't on this side of the wall. No matter how much we try, we can't change policy. Right? You have to get to the people that are actually in the policy making decisions, and those are the academics. Okay, Dr. Johnson put together 10 points. 10 points for black males, black male agenda to try to actually do what? Go in and then start lobbying and changing these laws one at a time. Actually pointed out Biden's actually pointed out Biden's whatchamacallit. He actually had a executive order talking about protecting the most oppressed and least served community in the United States, which are black men. And we're trying to encourage black men to actually do it. Use this the same way white women use sex and executive order to actually take your jobs and your affirmative action jobs away from you in 1968, 1970. Okay, use the same thing.
So,
So in other words, how do you get things changed, right? You start with getting to the academics. The academics change the policy. That actually filters down. Okay, there's a lot of things. We actually and one thing I actually did is actually clever about BLM and having them change their policy by exposing how much money they made and who the donors were. There's a lot of ways you can actually get things done.
Um,
wow, that
so
was a sermon right there, wasn't it? So,
Thank you.
Dr.
Jessica,
Johnson has been making steps towards changing things, and you could go into the intricacies of that, but not what you've done yourself.
How do
And
you
earlier on in the
how do you think he
conversation,
got here? How do you think he got here? And who
you
actually encouraged him to actually start this stuff?
you said two things, right, that
Okay,
stood out
all
to
right.
me. You said if
Oh,
somebody doesn't like the law, well, change it.
change them.
So
Yes,
that's why I was asking you what you've done to change the law. And um,
it takes
well,
time.
I had a sermon. And
what,
also what you said was that
Uh huh.
basically you can't, you're never going to change the law unless you get right up there with the policymakers. And you haven't been able to do that despite the work that you said that you've
That's not
done.
what I said. That's
That
not what I said. That's
you,
not what I said.
so
That's
what
not what.
laws have you changed?
That's not what I didn't. You actually misquoted me, even though you heard me. I said. I said on this side of the wall, you can't. It's difficult to change things. You have to get policymakers on the other side of the wall, which are the academics.
Yep.
Okay, you get with them. You start to encourage them to actually start change on their side of the wall because they're already in the position, and that actually changes things faster. Okay, that's why you bring
yes, that makes
academics
sense
into this space.
regarding
Okay,
the
To
but
actually
you
do.
weren't
relationship with
able to do that.
PhDs. Yeah, he
Okay.
said
All
he
right, baby.
has
All
four
right, baby.
He
All right,
PhDs.
baby.
wasn't.
That's
All
about
right.
No,
All right. All right.
concrete.
that's
All
I
what
right.
he.
All
understand.
right, baby. All right,
Concrete,
baby.
I understand, but
All
he
right, baby.
wasn't
Oh,
able
you.
to
Oh,
do that. So
Jessica,
when
you're
Well,
he
no,
right.
that's
sits
not what he
there,
said.
Jessica, you're
He's,
right.
he's okay. Well,
he
we are.
wasn't
Go
able
ahead,
to
Jessica, you're
Jessica.
right.
change
You're right,
laws.
Jessica.
He
You're right.
wasn't. So
Well,
when he
You're
sits
right,
there and says
Jessica.
to somebody
You're right,
else,
Jessica.
well, go out there and change the law, he should know full well that it's not just this, and you just say it on a whim, like, well, go out there and change a law then. He himself, given what he says he knows and what he does,
mhm.
he should know
Hmm.
that it's not that easy for somebody to just go out there and
Yeah,
change the
but
law. So
personally, to me,
when we're using,
even if you aren't if you have not changed the law, you advocating and putting yourself in a position to influence change is still powerful. It is a process. It's a daunting process. There are politicians and people who have been politicians for over 50 years that can't get laws changed, but to constantly advocate and to constantly apply pressure and ensure that you're networking and making the connections to be in the room with people that you can have their ear in an effort to, impact change, is still doing the work
Dr.
too.
Johnson is doing that, and I applaud him for
Okay,
doing
man.
so.
All
I
right.
applaud Dr. Johnson for doing that.
Well, we actually are going
Okay.
to start the process to close it down because I got to cook this man dinner. So, yeah.
Oh, good. Hey,
And
good
I have
wife.
to make Curlin some spaghetti. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Was Italian sausage or meatballs?
both.
He
Ooh,
said it ain't going
ooh.
to be no soup tonight. He wants some
How about
spaghetti.
you?
Dang.
With,
He
Yes,
wants
sir.
some
yeah,
spaghetti.
with some sketty with some garlic bread.
No,
Oh,
listen, I'm from the
yes.
Midwest. Spaghetti is a side dish.
It really
Spaghetti
is
goes
a
Yep.
on the
side
side of
Yep.
dish,
fish.
Yep.
Get
right?
you some
Yep.
Wow.
put some spaghetti on the side. Listen, I'm trying to tell you. Well, I'm
That
cooking some
part.
corned beef and cabbage for the mister, so I got to,
Oh.
go ahead and finish doing what I got to
When
do.
you okay, so you're gonna use the meat to season the cabbage, but girl, if you had you
No,
some
I put smoked turkey, yeah, in my
oh
cabbage.
girl, all you need is a
Oh, I
little
love
pork.
smoked turkey.
You know what? Listen,
Girl,
Jess,
if
she
you
trying to
add
convert
some
me to
pork
a
up in
Christian.
there, I bet you won't even have a pot of greens
Listen,
left.
this man was Muslim for over 30 years. If I bring
Girl, he missed
That's what I was
bacon.
about to say.
Trust
Isn't your
me.
fiance Muslim?
if I bring some pork
How
in
is
this
he
house, we gonna
pork
cook
only?
tonight.
Girl, have you remember the smell of bacon, right? Concrete.
Got
Girl.
you.
Oh
Whatever.
yeah.
But
When we go to Greece next time, baby,
Oh,
I'm gonna cook you
you
some
get turkey
bacon. I
bacon. You
got
get
you,
turkey
girl.
bacon.
We
yeah,
don't even
and
like
beef
turkey
bacon.
bacon,
Turkey
They
BTS.
have
bacon. Yeah.
beef
BTS, let me
bacon
tell
is
you
And beef
this.
bacon.
delicious.
Beef bacon actually better. It's more expensive
Ooh,
though.
it's so good. Yeah, it's
When we
expensive
went
Yeah.
for
out
that.
to
Yeah.
brunch, Concrete kept eyeing my bacon like shit, and I was like, "Girl, no."
She reverting. She went reverting.
She had
And,
her
I had
eye
my
on my
little
damn bacon. I had to
cardboard.
hey,
hide it,
hey, hey,
like put
hey.
my hand over it, like, "Girl, stop looking at my
The temptation. She's still an addict.
She's a
Don't.
lie. Okay.
bacon."
She's still at it. She's still an addict.
No, we are actually going to start the process to shut it down. This was a very I didn't expect it for the after show. I have to tell you that. Thank you, BGS, first off, for being such a good sport. We're going to start the process
Um,
to close it down and get final comments, starting with Mr. KP.
Oh, let
All
me read
right.
this super chat real quick.
Oh,
Shout out to
sorry.
number 16. Number 16 says, "Who is getting their Darth Vader on right now on the mic?" And Charles, I think that was meant for you. But thank you so much, number
I'm just gonna tell them,
16.
one, I was muted for a long time, and two,
Every time you was
I'm
not
upset. I'm upset that a lot of people will try to make certain comments, even though they are like faceless cowards.
Oh
Anyway,
Lord.
I mean,
It's
faceless
Halloween,
has
so they
nothing to
get
do with breathing.
even though they're even though they have to even though it's Halloween today,
here's
so
my
they
mute
can go
button.
outside without question.
let me get my Darth Vader.
Hold on.
That's how it sounded before.
My intro was Darth Vader with the slashing the haters in half. Okay,
Oh my
Oh yeah,
gosh.
and by the
and
way,
the lightsaber.
I like to say hi to Jerome Whiteside. The most
Jerome
disingenuous and
Marshall,
idiotic person
he been
Yeah.
popping
that I've ever
so much
seen.
stuff from the chat. He would
Oh yeah,
not come up here, but
number one troll. We
He never
voted him
does.
yeah,
number one troll.
he's a
He never
mess.
will.
All right, Mr. KP, what you got for us in closing?
Well, for one, I like to say, you should have a holiday where you get 30 days to eat pork, like Ramadan. Because and then you go back. I'm serious. You should
Y'all
at least
trying
give
to
you,
get this man to divorce me before we even married. Lord have
Girl,
mercy.
he
at least
gonna
a
be eating that
week.
shit right along with you. Don't worry
The
about
bacon
it.
you want in the morning, and then show you discipline. You revert back. But
Wow,
anyway,
wow,
Ask
wow.
him
uh,
if he like fried pork chops still.
I
Girl,
will
get that man
not.
a
yeah,
That
pork
man
chop and
ain't
some
ate fried
rice.
pork chops since he was probably 8 years old.
Girl, get that
mm,
man a fried pork chop and some rice and gravy on holiday day, girl. Stop.
Chicken fried steak is just as good now.
yes, yeah.
We eat fried turkey chops. It
Girl, we
ain't the
don't even know
same,
what
but
that
No,
is.
fried turkey chop's not the same. No, it's not.
Baby, stop playing with that man and get that man a real pork chop. He'll
I
thank
hate
you.
you.
Do the blindfold game. He won't know the difference.
Worms and all, huh?
But
Baby, he don't worry about it. It'll be all right.
I was saying
That
closing.
pig is unclean.
Mr. BGS, thank you for coming on. I um am a old-fashioned believer in certain things, of the
Uh-huh.
practicality of things and the functionality of things. I
Uh-huh.
understand the idealism of certain people's views of
I
how
do too.
equality of things, but if it's not practical and it doesn't provide much of a function, I
Mm-hmm.
say the greater good trumps the greater idea. So
Sometimes
yeah,
it does.
so
A lot of times it takes a long time for the greater good to actually emerge. Unfortunately.
yeah, so I I always like say is the reckoning of some sort might come down the line in the next
I hope
15
so.
to 20 years,
Uh,
where a lot of
uh,
folks will realize the ideas that they had might have not been a great idea to begin with,
uh-huh.
and
Well,
like I said, you reap what you sow in so many ways. But
well, you're actually an old pro-black, an old Pan-Africanist, right? Your mouth to God's ear. I hope it happens.
yeah, I just say that to you, ladies. Thank you for bringing BGS up here. Um, Everyone else, thank you for being on, and
Man,
you have a blessed day.
I hope they got enough smoke for this one, boy. Okay.
You do the
Woo.
same.
I
Oh
got
my
enough.
gosh.
Hope there is.
This was pretty. Y'all make sure y'all. I'm sorry. You
Yeah.
guys make sure you stick around because we do have some giveaways too at the
Oh
end
yeah.
here. So,
All right.
but thank
Oh,
you, Mr. KP.
exciting.
We
No
appreciate
problem.
you. Gaston's World, what you got, bro?
Wait a minute before you go, Gaston. Shout out to James Cole. He says at Jessica X, bravo, love. Thank you so
Oh,
much,
thank you,
James.
James.
So sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Gaston's World, what are your final thoughts?
Well, this has been quite an interesting show to say the least. Again, I
All
wasn't
our
familiar
shows are
with.
interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah, no shit.
Ignore
No,
her.
it definitely is. Um, yeah, no, I wasn't familiar with BGS and his content prior to this conversation, and I'll be going to look at some of that to afterwards to kind of get a better understanding of your viewpoints. So I appreciate that. But I will say that I guess one point that we did have a disagreement in is that hope is not an ideal; it's a reality, and I think that moving
Okay.
forward in our community, the hope that we will be reunited as a community is kind of displayed with the women who host this podcast, and that there are women who are not completely just closed off to the idea of reuniting the Black community. And so I'm gonna hold out for them, or if Jessica X comes to America. But I think that what's gonna happen in the next 5 to 10 years is, like you said, what gives way to law, and that's I don't know, uh, the morality of people. And so once the morality starts to catch up that, this isn't the way a household looks traditionally, this isn't the way a household functions, then the laws will catch up in our community.
In
It's
other
all
words, you have transsexual morals being pushed on us constantly, right? Gender fluidity, right? All this kind of stuff being pushed on. Morals are going to actually change in 5 years. Really? Okay. I hope so.
well, so I just meant in the traditional nuclear Black family. And so if
What's
there's
left
a
of it? Yeah.
subsect of people, if there's a subsect of people who don't agree or won't agree with that, that's fine. Those people will die alone too. But when there's people who want growth, who want positivity, who want our community to be together,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's inevitable that those people will shine forward. Now, if it's in the next 5 to 10 years, maybe that's again hopeful thinking. But I
Mm-hmm.
like to think of myself as a hopeful thinker in that I've served in this military. I've done a lot of things in my lifetime
Mm-hmm.
with the idea of hope being, I guess, shining through. So I want to thank the ladies again for having this show. Thank you, BGS, for being here. And like I said, I won't speak to the conversations that I wasn't particularly a part of today, but again, I'm going to be looking into your content to see about
Appreciate you.
understanding some more of your ideas.
Oh, there's a lot of them. So.
I'm sure. Well, have a great day, and I'll see y'all in the next stream. Congratulations on the way on a year.
To
Good
Thank
you.
you,
job,
thank you,
ladies.
thank you,
Thank
Gaston.
you
And,
So
so
and
much,
they
thank you for your
Gaston.
survived.
grace.
Thank God.
Right.
Oh no, they
We-
thrived.
No,
yeah,
no,
this year
Hopefully
oh
has
they will
yeah,
been
oh
continue
yeah.
to do that.
There was a big headwind against them, so they're still here.
Isn't
That's
hope
actually a
crazy like
miracle.
that?
Hmm?
But yeah, so y'all have a great day.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
Thank you,
hope is
Gaston.
crazy.
Gaston.
Yes, true.
All right, Officer Faulkner, what do you have in closing?
Is he still there?
Uh-oh, he dropped down. Sorry. Okay.
Okay.
Jessica X, you are last, my dear. What do you have in closing?
First of all, I want to say thank you to you guys for having me up as always. It's been a good show, great show. BGS, I want to say thank you to you for attempting to answer my questions and, being willing to engage with me. I'll
Exactly.
definitely check out some more of your content. I actually think that maybe on some things we'd probably, have similar thoughts. As you can see on others, we think differently. But yeah, I think we do make such an emphasis on morality and how the moral somebody's morality affects society. I think we need to keep that consistent across the board, because again, it's morality on both sides that is needed in this scenario. And we can look at the age of 16 being consent, but also I want people to think about the laws, right? The laws that we have right now, and how there is a push to sexually liberate women. We know the impact that sexual liberation has on society. We know that it's creating single mothers. We know that it's creating bad outcomes for children. We know that it's creating bad outcomes for society as a whole. And so I would actually say that we need to move away from that, rather than indulge in it in some aspects, but then actually, put down the outcomes of it. We need to just be consistent across the board. I don't look at a 16-year-old boy as a man. I don't. I don't think he's in a position to have a family, to be a father. He's not ready for those things in life. And I also think the same for a 16-year-old girl. I don't put the same amount of responsibility on a 34-year-old man as I do on a 16-year-old boy. I can acknowledge those differences, and I think we need to do that across the board. But yeah, again, thank you for having me. And, I'll be here at the next show.
Thank you, Jess, for joining us.
Right,
We
goodbye.
appreciated your contribution to the conversation. I always enjoy the fact that you stand on your square and are willing to also ask tough questions. So, yeah, thank you for joining us.
Goodbye.
You're welcome. Oh, thank you. But I just wanted to say, I did just drop BGS's channel in the chat. It has been being dropped throughout the course of the 2 interviews. So if you guys missed it, I just dropped it. Click the link. I'm sure most of the people that are here probably subscribe to him already. But if you don't, make sure that you click the link and sub to BGS's channel.
Mm-hmm. Officer Faulkner, what are your final thoughts?
Besides Jerome Whiteside is an idiot, but nah, I'll say this. One, we have to look at really the functionality of things. We can't ask for morality when it suits us. Okay? We can't do that. We can't ask for morality when it suits us, because if you have the right to do certain things, how many people are asking to take their rights back? Now, when it comes to the reality of things, we must take it accordingly and very carefully. No, because I've noticed some people, oh, you're preaching predators and all this other stuff, and I would say be very careful, because that is some slanderous stuff that you're saying, especially since I personally arrested predators. We need to take a realistic look on what type of community that we want to have in the next few years. And the time is getting shorter and shorter each day. If you're not raising your boys to be competent and competitive, and if you're not raising your girls to be the same, then give up. If you are, keep fighting. But at the same time, you're going to have to make a decision. Are we going to put this back? Are we going to try to attempt to put toothpaste back in the bottle, in the little container? Are we? Are we actually going to make an effort, or we're just going to say, we're going to see the data, we're going to see the results, we're going to live it and look at it like, okay, it'll fix itself? It's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of energy, and a lot of not only just being mentally astute, but also physical force to get things done. So, till the next time, woo!
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate you, Officer Faulkner. We are going to allow BGS to have final comments, but before we do the process to do that, we are, like we said, doing a giveaway. The giveaway is going to consist of you all picking a number anywhere between 1 and 200, and the numbers that match the numbers that we have and or are close to the numbers that we have, we will pick 3 winners, and yeah, you will be we'll cash app you some cash. So if you guys put the number in the chat between 1 and 200 while BGS is doing his final comments, and we will reveal the winners once he's done.
And you guys had enough smoke? You gonna open the doors and open the windows?
No, we had enough. I think we good. Need some ventilation.
Mm-hmm. And anything but boring, huh?
Facts.
With a stream with me, anything but boring. So, but the thing is that, like I said, my channel is only built for like 500 people, and for the most part, I'm agnostic. I don't care if you agree with me or not. My job is to actually give you the truth. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I don't go by feelings, even with my spirituality. I don't go by feelings. I go by facts. I go by data, statistics, history. If you can't provide that, okay, your feelings are your feelings. Okay, not once did anybody actually knock down my facts, ever. They just said I attempted to answer a question. I answered your question. You didn't like the answer, but I answered your question. I've done that with her like 4 or 5 times. Yeah, I do that with everybody. I give you a clear, concise answer and why I think that way. People don't like it. Is what it is. But that's who I am. That's what my channel is actually about. A lot of people don't agree with me, from COVID to marriage to mating to a whole bunch of things. Okay, that's fine. Thing is, prove it wrong. That's my thing. Prove me wrong. I haven't seen it yet. That's why I asked, get to the point, show me the proof. Because I'm a scientist. You say scientific facts, show me the data. Show me the study. Okay, and show me in history where that has actually come about. When they actually talk about what's the difference between a 16-year-old now versus 16-year-old 100 years ago, I actually gave the data and the circumstance. Couldn't argue with that. But people still argue, okay, but it's so moral. No, it's not. Morals are actually made up as we go along to actually get along with each other. In fact, we did a whole 6 hours with Green Gorilla, who's actually a PhD in philosophy. He said the exact same thing. Hobbes, Voltaire, Locke said the same thing. We actually wrote the Constitution of the United States, right? Actually derived from that work. Okay, and Constitution was actually a living document, actually adjusts to the morals and the morals of the time, the environment, all these things over time. That's what it does. And age of consent is no different. In fact, the federal age of consent, if you look it up, we actually looked up last night, it's still 12. It hasn't increased. Still 12 years old. The states changed it, but as far as the federal government is concerned, it's still 12. Where did that come from, and why does that exist? And that's just one thing. But like I said, I'm gonna open up my windows and clear out all the smoke. I think I stood in there, and I think I answered people's questions as best I could when I was actually able. So, it is what it is. Like me or don't like me. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, BGS. We can't tell you how much we appreciated this. Not only did you allow for the interview, you answered all the questions that we had, despite their level of difficulty or how controversial they might have been, which might have created a little bit of smoke on the after show. But you also came back and joined us on the after show. So we're thankful for your presence. Thank you. We truly appreciate you rocking with us today. And we enjoyed the interview. I thought that it was phenomenal, and I even enjoyed the after show despite
y'all were laughing. BGS is in the chair. We're gonna enjoy this. What are you gonna say? What are you gonna say?
You know I was. BGS.
I know you were. I know you were. She's back there cackling. She's probably muted cackling. Get him, girl.
Oh my gosh. But
Get
thank you,
him,
thank
girl.
you, thank you.
We
We
gonna be in a good
definitely
debate, honey. I love to see it. I don't be mad at all. I don't be mad at
That's
all.
one thing I can do. People don't think I
mhm,
can. I one day I can debate, which keeps
I
all my
agree.
women in check. They don't like arguing with me. They keep them in check. No,
Mhm.
no, girl, I don't want to talk to him. My daughter says, "No, don't talk to daddy. No, no, just whatever it is, I'll do it. Okay, just I'll do it. I don't want to talk to him.
Listen,
Okay."
I
Oh,
know
She's
how
been.
they feel. I do because, like, sometimes when you catch me up in something, I'm just like, you know what, BGS, never mind. Let me just stop dancing. Let me stop while I'm ahead. Mhm.
y'all are a
Absolutely.
mess.
So
But
thank you again. Go ahead, Danny.
I was just gonna say, thank you too so much. This is our second year anniversary,
Yeah,
Hmm.
and
congratulations.
partially the reason that we're still in the space is because you did put us on. So we really, really, really appreciate that,
Hmm.
and thank you for
Well,
gracing us with this interview.
well, y'all haven't disappointed me, so I'm glad. So it
Thank
wasn't
you.
as well actually deserved. So I
And
always wonder if I'm going to put somebody on or suggest somebody where they're actually going to deliver. You guys have, so that's good.
thank you. And we
Thank
plan to
you.
stick around, baby. We ain't going nowhere despite what
Nowhere.
people have to say. We are here to stay.
And I'm going to tell Jessica one more time: money matters, sweetie.
Oh,
Money matters. Who
Money
was that? Oh,
matters.
Obsidian used to say beauty matters. Yes,
Oh,
money
beauty matters.
matters.
No, it was actually Bumpy in the first Shaft, right?
Oh, is that what that
And
came from?
and he said, "I thought you said money doesn't matter." He said, Bumpy said, "Money always matters."
Mm,
mm-hmm.
that part.
I'm gonna find that. I'm gonna
Um,
find that clip.
well, thank you again, BGS. We appreciate you. Again, if you guys have not subbed to his channel, make sure you go sub to BGS. Like, he has some phenomenal content. Like, he has preloaded streams that he does, and then he also does his live streams. On what night? Is it Friday nights?
It used to be Friday nights. I don't. It's
Mhm.
random now. So
Oh, okay, it's random.
I do a random shatter point now. There's no prescribed day. So
Okay, so make sure you
anytime you
guys are
find me.
subbed. Yeah.
Yes. And shout out to Everyday Motivation. She says happy anniversary. Thank you
Oh,
so,
thank you.
so much. Shout out to everybody that's rocked with us. We have selected our winners
Yes.
for our giveaway.
So make
So there
sure you.
is three of you.
Hmm.
It's Clips Reloaded. Clips Reloaded. If
Oh,
you
okay.
could email us at the breakdown 2020 at gmail.com. That's the
It's in
breakdown
your Cash
2020
App.
at gmail.com. Send us your Cash app. The next one was Karzaya. Karzaya, please send us your Cash app at the breakdown 2020 at gmail.com. And shout out to Dane.
Mhm.
Dane, send us your email, your Cash app, so we can get you your money. But shout
Absolutely.
out to everybody for coming through. It's been a hell of a 2 years. I
Hmm.
think I've experienced so much growth in just life and even dealing with my marriage and being a better woman for my husband. So I think the space has really benefited me
Hmm.
tremendously. Um, it's just, it's been a lot of growth, a lot of learning here. And I appreciate you guys. And, we
I
look
agree.
forward to doing a lot of great
My mama.
content for the upcoming season 3.
Yes, year
Um,
three gonna be a fire year. Like, you guys better roll with us, because y'all. To me, year two, I feel like we've definitely grown and elevated. Our channel has elevated. We did things completely different from year one to from year two compared to year one. Year three will be even more interesting. So make sure you guys continue to come back and support and tune in. But this was dope. Not only have I seen like your individual growth, I've definitely grown. You have dragged me out of my bubble, kicking and screaming, because I wanted to stay in my bubble. I was uncomfortable doing certain things, and because of you pushing, I gave in and I
mhm.
acquiesced, and I've enjoyed every step of the way. So this was a dope show. Year two has been dope, and baby, year three gonna be the best one yet.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Shout out to everybody who's rocked with us. Um, you guys have stayed consistent. We've been consistent, but you guys have absolutely stayed consistent, and we definitely appreciate that because y'all come here every week and through whatever issues we've had with whatever,
work
y'all
the hell out of our
experienced.
nerves. But you know what? That's Andrew and Jerome. What can we do about that? Oh my God. And
Baby.
Karan. Lord have
Bless
mercy.
you. Bless you.
Yes. So a shout out to everybody for that. But we really, really appreciate it. And yeah, that's all I got.
All right.
All right.
That's all I got as well. Peace out.
All right. Peace.
All right. Thanks
All right,
again,
sir.
BGS.
All right. See y'all later.
All right. Bye bye.